Welcome to a very special stream, ladies and gentlemen. Before I go any further, give a huge welcome to a returning friend of mine, Alex, the man, the myth, the legend, right here. See what I did there?
Yeah, that was pretty
I mean,
good. What's
hey,
up, guys? How are you?
that's
Been
it,
a
man.
long
How you
time.
doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to talk about today, so should be
It's
awesome. I'm
gonna be great.
excited.
I mean, hey, that's what we
That's
that's
what we
what we
do.
do.
That's
That's
what we
what we
do.
do. That
That's
we've
what we do.
immortalized it forever. That's what we do, you know? That's what we do.
Shut up!
That's what we do.
I wasn't expecting that one.
The
I wasn't
temptation
expecting
is
that
too
one.
high. Now, I do want to preface this stream before I go any further. I will not be reading the chat whatsoever, just because there is some leaks circulating the interweb at the moment, and it's not like just title leaks and stuff like that. It's genuine, strong leaks. But everyone who is watching, I appreciate you all so much, and thank you for tuning in. And I hope you enjoy the show that me and Alex are going to deliver today, because I think Alex is one of the very few people that understands this subject matter like I do, and this particular storyline for me holds a lot of, it's going to sound cheesy, but it holds a lot of special place in my heart, because it's something that allowed me to build this, and it's the cornerstone and backbone of a show that I really love. And I've said it from day one, and I'm sure, Alex, you'll agree, the love triangle isn't a Simon Tori and Miguel. No, it's not that. The love triangle is Miguel, Robbie, and Johnny. They're in love with their dad. Yeah, it's normal. We don't have to do that crazy BS here. It's not Alabama. But
I was
but
like, you got
the
me.
relationship of these three characters is the cornerstone of the entire show and has been since the beginning. And the reason for my thumbnail choice, heavily inspired by my brother here, was their arcs have run so parallel to each other across the whole show, from the beginning of season one to where we're at now. It's so great to see. It's time to stop this Team Miguel, Team Robbie bullshit, and we're bringing them both together. And it's Robbie, it's Tommy and Jason. It's Tommy and Jason. It's Rocky and Apollo. It's Sylvester and Arnold. It's Barbosa and Jack Sparrow. Like it's Goku and Vegeta. Like it's literally every duo that you can think of. Dom and Brian. Like it's every single duo that you can think of that's in any pop culture medium that's ever existed.
Anakin and
But
Obi-Wan too.
exactly. And once again, because I've got some new people joining, we've got about 40 in the stream. Shout out to all of you. I won't be paying attention to the chat primarily because of this. We move ever closer to the show dropping, and normally when this happens, they'd be like, "Hey, so did you hear that Kreese gets out of prison and he RKO's Silver through a bloody chessboard?" Like I don't need to see any of that at all whatsoever. But once again, I do hope you all enjoy the show. Me and Alex are going to be covering Robbie and Miguel's journey from season one, and why it's time to bury it. Like, wouldn't you agree, Alex? Like, it's time.
It's been long overdue, for sure. This is something that's been set up since the beginning, so might as well wrap it in a bow finally.
Damn right. Like we're just at a point now, and we're gonna go like season by season. We're gonna talk about their journey and progression across the show, as we go along.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be great. We're gonna be covering all bases. And before, like, I just want to put this out there. There was a time in pre-nuance Jacob, like I have to say it was pre-nuance Jacob, where I ragged on Robbie hard. I was like, get this bloody 90s Sean Hunter heartthrob out of here. Get him out of here. Like, get him out of here. You're ruining Miguel and Johnny's story here. I don't like this. Get out of here. And then obviously as the show progressed, I was like, maybe there's something to this guy. And Robbie fanboy, it's like J. Jonah James says, fact I'm very proud of. Fact I'm very proud of. And I will die on this hill. But we're going to be talking about their journey, and we know nothing of season 5, people. I've not seen anything of season 5 beyond the trailer, and I don't want to see any more. There was a cool clip that was released of, what was it, Alex, with the Robbie and Miguel one?
Yeah. The oh god, I think it was titled yesterday. They released it. It was titled Which Showdown are you most looking forward to? And it was like showing their season 2 fight and their season 5 fight, and It was awesome.
Yeah. Because it's time to stop this BS. Like it's time to bring the Karate Kids home. Like obviously Miguel is the main one, but Robbie's bloodline. It's time to bring them both home.
Legacy.
Close this book and start fresh. And if you really want the show to carry on for another 3 to 4 seasons, changing characters between dojos is not working anymore. Like you need to do something that fundamentally changes this show at its core. And its core is these two. So it's time. So without further ado, let's start with season 1. Let's go right back to Ace Degenerate days.
Yes.
Simpler times of Cobra Kai.
I was just about to say that. Simpler times. Yeah.
Simpler times. I mean, if you look at where we're at now with potentially going global and all this kind of stuff, hey, it was just about Miguel defending himself from Kyler's bitch ass. Like, look at where we're at now. It's crazy. But we're not introduced to Robbie right away. He comes in the second episode, I think it is. We're introduced to Miguel first. And Miguel, for all intents and purposes, is the new age Karate Kid. We're following his journey. And it's about, mirroring that Daniel and Miyagi arc, but this time it's the form of Johnny and Miguel. Like it's flipping the roles. It's putting Johnny in what was Miyagi's perspective of Daniel. It's putting Daniel in, like, it's flipping everything.
Yeah.
And we learn from Johnny's stepfather, Sid, that, how is Robbie? Do you talk to him? Have you seen him? Yada, yada, yada. And you're just like, wait, hang on. Johnny has a son? Oh, this could be interesting. I wonder if they'll do something with it. And they do. And I just want to say, one of my favorite things about Robbie in season 1, Miyagi-Do was always great in the movies. Robbie made Miyagi-Do badass. Like Miyagi-Do was cool, but compared to Cobra Kai, like, it didn't have that, that oomph, that sort of wow factor where it was like, yo, this is sick. With Robbie, it's literally the bad boy, the bad kid in the good dojo. And you've got Miguel, the good kid, in the bad dojo. Like, it's a flipping. And I love across the season where there's moments where Johnny wants to reconcile with his son, but he's now bonded with Miguel. And he sees it as his second chance at redeeming where he failed with Robbie. And him and Miguel have some of the best scenes together across the entire show, especially in the first 2 seasons. Like, it's really, even in season 3. Season 4, had a few, but the first 3 seasons especially, there was some really powerful scenes between them two. And in season 1, when he gives Miguel the gi and all that kind of stuff, a lot of people always misread it as Robbie was upset that Miguel got the gi. No, that's not what he's upset about. He's upset that his father, who for the whole of his life, right, 17 odd years, has had nothing the fudge to do with him, right? Nothing to do with him. And the minute Johnny shows a bit of interest, he's now got Miguel. It's like, so Robbie's thinking, what, you just trolling me? Like, you don't really care about me. You don't give a shit about me. You're just trolling me. Okay, all right, now you got this other kid. All right, I'm going to spite you, and I'm going to go and join. I'm going to go see what your old rival's saying. Let's go and check him out. Now, Robbie's in the wrong here for his motive. I don't like his motive, but I understand his motive. I understand his reasoning. He wants to get back at his old man. And it's that kind of thing where I've talked about this before. The importance of father figures, something that will be mentioned quite a lot in this stream, where this could be applied to today's society, where I know kids like, Robbie, not just because I myself have gone through similar situations, but where the lack of a father figure in your life is so, it can be to your detriment, or it can be something that builds you up. And in the case of Robbie and Miguel, look at the difference that it makes in Miguel's life within such a short time. Changes his life, he gets friends, he gets the confidence to strike first, kicks Kyler's ass in what was a badass scene. And that was when Miguel had some sick one-liners, it's not lame-ass karate. It's Cobra Kai.
It's Cobra Kai.
Boom, sock him right in the kisser. And then with Robbie, it's kind of like that thing of just being the opposite to that. And what I appreciate a lot about the season 1 journey is it follows a lot of the first Karate Kids formula. It ends up at the beach, and then you see the beach, and you're like, oh, here we go. Here it comes. Here we go again. And just seeing that scene play out, I was just like, in another timeline, Robbie joins Cobra Kai, and him and Miguel find a way to bury it within Cobra Kai, and they're on the same page from season 1. There is a good what-if scenario there. So, Boxiest, if you're watching, pal, I don't know if you've done that, but get on that. I think you might have done it, but if not, get on it. Shout out to him. But I think for me, I really appreciated that this show touched upon something that is a real issue in our society, where dads have a kid and they fuck off, like they bugger off. Like, it's not something that is good. And obviously, there's different perspectives, but speaking about it just from the perspective of a son, not having a father in your life it's heartbreaking. And you constantly are reminded by people who have happy families, people who have the white picket fence, if you will. And from Robbie's perspective, that's basically what he's never had. He's never had any of that. So when he sees Johnny try to reach out to him, and then he's thinking, you know what? Maybe there might be some truth to this. And then he sees him with Miguel. It's just kind of like, what are you doing? You trolling me here or what? And the reason he constantly pushes Johnny away is because he's testing him. He's testing him. It's not just like, oh, he's doing it just to be a jerk. I mean, there is some truth to that. He's being a bit of a douche. But it's more of just he's testing him. He's testing him to see if he gives a shit. And time again, Johnny fails. He fails every single time. And whenever, like a common theme that we'll get on to, especially when we talk about season 2, is whenever he shows care for Miguel, Robbie suffers. Whenever he shows care for Robbie, Miguel suffers. And Johnny's arc has been about dealing with the balance of, how do I balance my blood son with my other son? Because for all intents and purposes, yes, Robbie's his son, but Miguel is basically his son, like more or less. And I think what I'm looking forward to with this Mexico arc that's coming up, I'm really looking forward to this I would perfectly be content if Miguel never found his father. I would.
Me too. I think that would be more heartbreaking.
It's a lot to resolve in 3 episodes, and I mean, obviously they'll probably do it anyway, but I think there's something so symbolically powerful with, it doesn't matter who your father is, it doesn't matter where you come from. I'm your father. You're my son. May not be blood, but your family. Your family. So had to do it. So I'm looking forward to that. And that's only made possible by the groundwork that was laid with season 1. And I think season 1 has so many, we were talking about this the other day, that it has so many like hidden gems of moments where it's so good. I rambled on a bit. So I'll piggyback into you now. Get those notes at the ready, sir.
All right, so season 1. So after doing a couple of rewatches of season 1, the nuance in there is amazing. So we start off with this kid moves to Reseda, much like Daniel before him, and he's having a hard time. You know what I mean? His name is Miguel. He's having a hard time. He's being bullied. He doesn't know where he's at this age where he's trying to balance everything. The new kid in school, but he's having a hard time. He, like Daniel before, meets a person that's also living in the same apartment complex as him, and he takes him under his wing, and he becomes, a student of Cobra Kai. Now, before watching Cobra Kai, if you had asked me which dojo do I think Miguel would have joined, Miyagi-Do, 100%. I hadn't seen any of the trailers.
Miyagi-Do.
Yeah, I hadn't seen any of the trailers, and I was like, okay, he's going to join Miyagi-Do. But it was interesting, like you said, a flip in the script that this time the bullied kid turns to Cobra Kai, and the delinquent skater punk joins Miyagi-Do. So it's like,
I love Robbie's bad boy edge.
Exactly. So it's like, ooh, okay, all right. So, and then
Robbie's not a thug, he's just a bad boy.
He's just a bad, he's a bad boy. He's a good kid, but
Simpson, if you will.
he has edge to him. Yeah. So you see, we follow Miguel on this journey, and you know what I mean? Like you said, we start to root for him because he feels like a real kid. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Miguel's the man because he's had his moments where he's flirted with the dark side, but he's never fully turned.
He's never given.
Know what I mean? Exactly. And Johnny's always kept his morals. Like, he's always kept Miguel's interests at heart, like the first thing that's on his mind. Absolutely. And so he starts to develop this relationship with Johnny, you know what I mean? And he builds his self-confidence up. And then he has his run-in with Kyler, and this time he fails. But then the second time at it, he has his run-in with Kyler, and this time he kicks his ass. And instead of Johnny doing the thing where like, all right, I'm disowning you, he's proud of him, and he gives him his gi, and that officially starts the love triangle of this constant back and forth.
The real love triangle of the show.
Exactly. So then we start to, with Miguel, we root for him. We want to see him get the girl. We want him to become this, this badass. And then by the time we get to episode 5, we focus more on who is Robbie Keene. You know what I mean? We find out that he's the son of Johnny Lawrence. We find out that
find out what his relationship with his mum's like, what he's been growing up around, what he's been exposed to.
And we find out that he's a good kid, but he's just had a rough go about it. You know what I mean? So
and there's a parallel with him and Johnny with the headphones.
Always listening to rock music. Yeah. And just like Miguel, he starts to form this relationship with a father figure who also teaches him karate. You know what I mean? And you see Robbie and Daniel go on this journey together where they start to form not only the mentor and protege relationship, but they form a father-son relationship, just like Miyagi and Daniel before them. But there's also hints of a little bit of Sato and Chosen's relationship in there where, you know what I mean, the student works for his you know what I mean, his master. They become family a little bit. And this time, instead of the, typical Miyagi-Do, Robbie's not afraid to take the fight to somebody. You know what I mean? He still has that edge to him.
That edge. He's not afraid to pull up. He isn't afraid.
Exactly. And then we start to, root for him a little bit more. And you're just like, God, like, where are these two guys gonna go? Is it eventually gonna come to a head? Like, where's this going?
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? And the whole season builds up to them meeting, and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to see this happen. Like, I can't wait because they're so well written. They're so well. I love that people are watching these trailers and going, "Oh my God, Miguel's going to beat him. Oh my God, Robbie's going to." I mean, you're missing the point, but I love that they're so well written. You could root for both. Like
exactly. I personally do. I've never rooted for one over the other. I relate to both of them so much where it's ridiculous. Like, I relate to Miguel's aspect a lot of, being the new kid somewhere and trying to find, somebody
trying to find your group, find
and trying to just be the best you could be and make the right choice every time.
Trying to be a good dude, not self-righteous, but just be a good dude.
A good person at the end of the day. And I could also relate to Robbie's, what he's going through is, trying to stay on the right path and also having, problems with your father a little bit and wanting to find a stable ground, you know what I mean? And you see these two kids just go on a journey, separate, and they don't meet until it comes to a head. And when they finally do, just like their masters before them, it's based on misunderstanding, it's based on perception, and a girl.
Yeah.
And a girl.
And I know someone's going to go, oh, here we go. It is true, though. Like, it's a parallel for a reason.
That happens. Freshman year. It happens.
We've all been there,
We've all been there.
We've all fought over a crush, with our closest friend, It doesn't matter if it's your closest bro. Like, if there's a lady involved, there's always tension. Like,
shit's going down.
Going down. Hell, back in the school days, there was me and, like, we were fighting like inflatable swords. I was like, no.
Jesus Christ. But
got rough.
Okay. But yeah, you start to see them go on this journey and you're just like, where are they going to go? Are they going to become friends? Are they not even going to meet each other? Like, where's this going? And it finally gets to the beach fight where, unfortunately, Miguel is drunk and he's under the influence. You know what I mean? He doesn't really know that much about Robbie. Robbie doesn't know that much about Miguel. But as soon as they come to head,
thing if he sees, Robbie holding her hand coming down, I haven't heard from you all day, and you just show up with this random dude holding hands. And
what do you think? What was I supposed to do?
I was just helping her down the hill. Like, I'm not. It's not like that. Like, and well, I mean, Robbie was definitely interested though, but it was a different kind of context. Miguel saw it as one thing and it wasn't that. And then Robbie saw it as another thing when Miguel went for the strike. And then it just spawned the future seasons.
And here's another thing, just like Johnny and Daniel before them, it's a Cobra Kai that starts their rivalry, but it's the Miyagi-Do that escalates them.
That escalates it. Yeah. They're both as responsible for it as the other.
Exactly. Like,
it's
I don't.
Natural order.
Exactly. And what's so sad about it when watching season 1, they're good kids. You know what I mean? You're rooting for both of them. You know what I mean? You want them to succeed. In different
circumstances, these two could have been good friends.
Absolutely. That's what I've been saying. Like, as cool as the other characters are, I love Hawk. I really started to like Sam.
I love Hawk. Like, Sam's cool. Tori's great. But
when it comes to these two, it's
my
amazing.
Shit over seeing what they're getting up to. These two, I'm losing it. to see
And
what happens with these guys.
I think why that is because they're so similar. Like out of all the kids, these two are the most similar. Exactly. They're
like,
literally
Hawk
the
and
same
Robbie
person.
have very similar arcs, but Robbie and Miguel are basically the same character, just the same character.
Just split down the middle.
Just split down the middle and on different sides of the fence. There's a reason why for 4 seasons they've always been on the opposite side to each other. Because the minute you put them together, it's a whole different dynamic.
Whole different dynamic. You can't have 2 alphas together
for them to sort it out. It's 2 alphas.
Exactly.
You know,
you can't do that. It doesn't make it as interesting. So
and it was like, oh, they can't be friends. It's like Goku and Vegeta, Tommy and Jason. We've been here before.
You just got to talk, man. Yeah.
A conversation. And I remember doing a video saying that one conversation would solve it. And people were like, oh, God, a conversation would solve it. Like, not literally. One conversation would spark the beginning of it. That's literally, they need a Daniel Johnny conversation. Or like a scene that Miguel and Johnny had in season 1. Where, you know, he tells him the story of Ali and his perspective on things about what Daniel was doing. You know, that kind of thing. Maybe it's like, you know, hey, I stopped that school fight until you escalated it. Well, you had your hand on my girl. Like, it's you know, you can give that kind of, that feeding. But just sticking with season 1 quickly, is I think the whole season kind of builds up to it so well. Where obviously, for the most part, you're rooting for Miguel. Like, for the most part.
Oh, for sure. We started with him.
We started with him. But I've always said, it's like that thing with The Walking Dead. If you started with the Saviors first, you would say Negan is right. It's literally...
I've never seen The Walking Dead.
It's I'm sure someone in the comment section will get it. But basically, it's like, if you started with the other side of the fence before this... Basically, the other heroes of their own story kind of thing. If you started with Robbie, you might feel different towards Miguel, and that's a storytelling choice. It's stylistically designed to be that way, to evoke an emotion in you where you see Robbie and you're like, man, get this fucker off the screen, man, go away. But then as the show progresses, you're like, oh man, like, shit, you know, Johnny, what the hell were you doing? Like, and then there's scenes across the show where Johnny breaks down to Miguel about how he failed him. And that, in essence, affects Miguel's decisions towards Robbie. And Robbie doesn't know that. So I'm hoping that season 5 will address that. But when they fight in the All Valley, it's just like that thing of, you knew Hawk was going to be the Dutch, like the aggressor. You knew he was going to do that. You knew he was going to get disqualified. But when it comes
down to, you knew it was going to be them two in the final. Yeah,
it was just like, this is sick. The same character on different sides of the fence, but in the other dojos. I love this.
And it's the 50th anniversary too. You're just like, shit. You know what I mean?
And then it's just like, Robbie Keane will now be fighting for Miyagi-Do karate. Like, oh, it chills. And then Miguel's like, don't worry, Sensei. I won't let the Russo go home a winner. I was like, oh, I don't know who to root for.
Exactly, yeah.
When I first watched it, I was Team Miguel like all the way because I was just like...
Same. Yeah.
But then when you rewatch it, you're like, damn, this is kind of like... This is tough. And then from Johnny's eyes, like, because that's the main focus point here. It's not Sam. It's not Tori. From Johnny's perspective, he's like, man, I want to celebrate Miguel's win. I want to celebrate with my boy here. But then
I also want to be there for my son.
I've just pushed my son further away. I've just pushed him further away. Like, look at bloody Johnny's face when Miguel wins. Like, when Miguel wins, he's like, he's conflicted because he goes over to console Robbie. And then Miguel's like, Sensei, we did it. Yeah. And then, like, Robbie just, like, wanders off with Daniel. And, you know, it's a very, even though they win, there's a loss. There's a price. And it pushes Robbie further and further away. And season 1 really lays that great foundation for where these two characters go. And I would absolutely love it if the fight has callbacks to their fight in the All Valley. Maybe
oh my god, like flashbacks. Oh my god, that'd be awesome. Holy crap.
Because everyone's so focused on if Miguel or Robbie win. I've got a different scenario. What if both?
I want it to be a draw.
I want it to be a draw. I don't want anyone interfering. Oh, what if Johnny No, you need to have them stop it themselves. You need to have Robbie and Miguel consciously choose, whoa, enough is enough. And here's how you do it. You have them both land a kick at the same time or something. Same time.
We were talking about this.
You split them onto the railing, right?
Yep.
Both of them are on it. Both of them could potentially drop. You call back to season 1. Hey.
And then they finally take a minute where they're like, whoa, we almost did it again.
Yeah,
Like,
because
holy
they
crap.
need to stop themselves from doing
They
it.
got to wake
Every
themselves up.
time
Yeah.
they get into it, someone's there to break it up. You need this
Mhm.
fight to go balls to the wall, like
Crazy.
insane. Have them let it all out. I want Miguel
Mhm.
fucking up Robbie. I want Robbie fucking up Miguel. All of it. Beat the crap out of each other to your
Me too.
heart's content.
Me too.
Get it all out your system. And then when the moment comes where you're both like, whoa, this is too much. We need to stop. Like this.
That begins the healing process.
Yeah, it's going to repeat all over again. Like that, we need to
Mhm.
stop this. And then
Yeah.
Robbie's going to remember, hang on, Jesus, I kicked you over a railing and look what happened. And look what I did to you. And then Miguel's going to be like, man, look what I bloody caused at that school fight indirectly with Sam and all that kind of stuff. Like it's going to allow them to see it from the other person's point of view in that respect. Like I don't want there to be some cringy line where it's like, I had all this hate side of me, but not anymore, and then lifts him up over the rail. Like, don't do that.
I hope not. I hope not.
God, no. You know, and everyone's like, obviously, the show says, who do you think's got the win, Robbie or Miguel? Because it's a fight. You know, in any fight, there needs to be an A and a B. But in this case, there doesn't need to be a winner. And I don't want there to be a clear-cut winner.
Me either.
You do a disservice to the character arcs of the show. We're 5 seasons in now. These two are yin and yang. They're even. They're more even than Daniel and Johnny.
That's what most people don't realize, is that the only reason one of them wins necessarily is because the other is at a disadvantage. You know what I mean? Take season 1, Robbie's shoulder. Take season 2, Robbie's at a disadvantage because his anger is getting the best of him, and Miguel just attacked him for no reason. We get to season 3, they don't fight. We get to season 4, Miguel's at a disadvantage this time because A, his head's not in it, and B, he's literally coming. He's coming back from injury. Like the dude just relearned how to
walking again is a miracle.
Is a miracle. But yeah, and one more thing before we move on to season 2, which I have a lot to talk about. Season 1, like you said, they start their, you know what I mean, their rivalry at a beach, just like the, you know, their senseis before them. And it's fun. It starts their rivalry right there. But what's so interesting about it is that every other rivalry in the Karate Kid universe, it's always good guy versus bad guy. You know what I mean? Primarily Daniel versus Johnny. In the first movie, it was, okay, good guy, bad guy. Tori and Sam, okay, good guy, bad guy. Hawk versus Dimitri, good guy, bad guy. But with Miguel and Robbie, why it's my favorite rivalry in the whole franchise is because it's good guy versus the good guy.
Good guy. These aren't bad guys at all. They're good kids.
They're good kids, and they've made the right decision. They've at least tried to make the right decision every time.
Exactly.
You know?
Season 2, like Robbie proactively makes the choice, you know, with Sam, like, I can't mess this up. Like, I've been given an opportunity here. And then Johnny says to Miguel, you know, the only reason I'm hard on you is because you have the potential to be better than I ever was. And that's true. And the reason that it, not necessarily in terms of fighting or whatever, because you can always make a case that Johnny will be better because he's legacy. But in the context of the story, he means that Johnny was always held back by his past. And one thing that was a cripple to him was his rivalry with Daniel that took 30 odd years to get over. And it's kind of silly when you think about it, like it's cheesy, but you can apply it to situations in the real world where you hold on to a grudge, you hold on to that anger and that rage that everyone else around you suffers. Bloody Johnny's relationship suffered. His son was estranged. He basically neglected him his whole life. And then history repeated itself with Miguel. Like we are the sins of our fathers. And I want these two to break that cycle, because if you don't break the cycle, what does the cycle keep doing?
It keeps going.
Keeps
Never
going.
Stops. It affects their children. Yeah.
Then it stops. And, you know, this is why I had someone ask me the other day, do I think Kenny, Devon, and like Anthony could carry on the show for future seasons? And in some ways, yeah, but with it wouldn't be
as interesting.
It wouldn't be as interesting. And with the story formula that Miguel and Robbie have, I don't like, with the amount of nuance that is in these two characters and their stories, you do a disservice to that by having that carry on.
Yeah, and also Kenny and Anthony have their fathers in their life, so it wouldn't really have that.
Yeah, these two, they don't. You know, Robbie never wanted anything to do with him. Miguel never knew his, and Miguel's father doesn't even know he exists. So it's crazy. And they could both relate on that their father was never there for them, ever, you know, at all.
Yeah. And it's their senseis that take them under their wing and treat them like the sons they've always wanted to be to
exactly somebody. Like they both find father figures. What did Daniel and Johnny say in the bar in season 1? We both found, you know, fathers in karate figures, Kreese and Miyagi. Like It's the same, literally the same thing. I mean, look at Robbie's face in season 2 when Daniel like says like, "I washed my hands of you." Like he's heartbroken.
He's
Like
crying, man.
he's crying. He's just like bawling his flipping eyes out. He's like, man, because it puts him right back in the headspace of his dad walking away from him. You know, it's the shit's heartbreaking, and all the karate and all the jokes and the humor and the cheese and the "you think I broke your heart, you broke mine too," and all that, and the backpacks and all that. It's just to cover up how dark and tragic the show really is, and it touches upon a real situation where sons are growing up without fathers. It's such a sad thing. It really is, and you see. With kids like Miguel and Robbie, like how different would Miguel's story be if Johnny wasn't around? What if Kreese was the person he met first?
Yeah. Hell, what if it was
It makes you
Daniel?
wonder, like, you know, what if it was Kreese that Miguel met first? What if Johnny and Robbie fixed their shit? Like, there's so many different, you know, bits of connective tissue that you can sort of glom onto with that. And for me, I think having a story like this out there, like Anakin Skywalker and Harry Potter, like it's been touched upon before in mediums, but not to a degree where you could literally apply it to real world situations. I think it's going to be so worthwhile for kids to watch this show and grow up. And you know what? And realize just because you don't have a dad doesn't mean there isn't someone who can't fill that role. You know, you can find someone to fill that gap, even if it's like an older brother. And you have the strength within yourself to make the right choice. And to Miguel's credit, I've said that Miguel always has the edge on Robbie in terms of heart for one simple reason. And this isn't me just defending Robbie. It's just, who does Robbie have? No one. Miguel has Yaya. He has his mum. His mum is his rock, with a relationship that I think will be tested a lot in season 5. But I think, you know, having his mum in his life has always been his rock. And the reason he has a heart of gold, and Yaya gives him that sort of, you know, positive outlook on life. Robbie lives in a dark, dingy apartment with his mum shacking up with a dude every night like they're going on sale, you know, listening to his heavy rock music, dealing with Trey and Cruz's BS.
Dude sleeps on the couch. Doesn't even have his own room.
He uses water and cereal. Like, good God. And with that, we can transition into season 2. And we'll bounce back and forth between season 1 and whatever else, because it's all connected. But season 2 focused. One of my favorite scenes in the entire show, is when after Robbie's like, I don't know. I don't remember. I was just like, he's like angsty emo, like Harry Potter. I love it. But when he's like at his house, and then Sam, to Sam's credit, she's like, how much do you know of like Robbie's home life? And then he's pouring like the cereal, and then Daniel knocks the door. And then, you know, shit, man, it gets me. It gets me, bro. Is when he says to him, you know, is your mum home? And then Robbie just looks down. There's like a tear that's about to come from his eye. Like, shit, man, it gets you, bro. It gets you. And then Daniel just straight away is like, you know what? I've been you. Come on, stay with us. Stay
without
with us.
hesitation. Yeah,
without hesitation. And Johnny
with me.
is, you know, you're stealing my kid. When in actuality, Daniel was just giving him a home. And after the mall fight, Daniel says to him, I'm glad you're part of this family. That's all Robbie wanted.
Look at his face. He's so happy that he's part of a family.
Literally all the kid has ever wanted. He never cared about the karate. He never cared about the stupid rivalry, as he put it. He just wanted his father. He just wanted his dad. And that scene when, like, in episode 10, before the shit goes down at the school, and he picks up that drawing of, you know, to Daddy Love Robbie, and then
it's right next to Johnny's trophies, man. That shows that
it's with his trophies.
Use those just like his trophies, if not more. And the moment, you know, because I've talked about the emotional moments with like Robbie this in season 2. Let's go on to Miguel, where Miguel, you know, for all intents and purposes, starts to question Johnny's methods with Kreese and all that kind of stuff. And then they have the burger scene, which I freaking love. I adore it because it gives Miguel the perspective of Robbie, but it really cements Miguel and Johnny's relationship. And it's like, you know, I failed my kid, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, this is personal stuff. You don't have to tell me. It's like, yes, I do have to tell you. I should have told you.
I should have told you. Because he's basically saying, you're my son as well. You should know this too. And, you know, obviously he's telling about, you know, secrets, the chopped onions, not that veggie crap. Just a quality grill and some good shower. But he's telling him the story of, you know, how he failed.
I failed my first kid.
And he's basically saying, you have given me the second chance. And linking it back to season 1, when Johnny's like appealing to get Cobra Kai reinstated, and he's like, because they're a bunch of losers, but because they're unique, like you can still he's still in there, but it's from the heart when he says, what does he say? He says, honestly, they're making a difference in mine. It's like that connective tissue is so important for Johnny and Miguel's relationship, and a big reason why we all loved it in season 1. It's like, great, more immigrants, just the little details and stuff. And there's so many moments across the show like that, where you've got Daniel bonding with Robbie and then Johnny bonding with Miguel, especially in season 2.
Season 2 is so great. They build their relationships with their senseis
there is like that love stuff in there that's a bit,
we're not talking about that.
Doesn't love you, she loves me. And all that kind of malarkey. But there is a lot of good gems, and season 3 and 4 only work because of what season 2 sets up. And then we get Daniel telling the story of when he joined Cobra Kai.
I love that scene, man.
Biggest
the
setup
focus
I've
is
ever
on
seen
Robbie
in my
the
life.
whole time. Yeah.
The camera lingers literally on Robbie the entire time, and it's just like coincidence? I think not. And then the fight in the school, where he's like obviously the lines are a bit on the nose, but when he's like that move, learned it from your dad. There is, that's cold. That cuts deep. And again, I'm gonna try and be as fair as possible here. That was a low blow. Like that was cold. I was like,
because in season 1 they weren't fighting for they weren't fighting for Johnny at all. They weren't even fighting for Sam. They were just fighting each other. When you get to season 2 is the first. Season 2 is a season where it really builds on the whole Johnny, Miguel, and Robbie like love triangle thing, because the school fight, they're fighting for Johnny's love. Like Robbie's fighting for his father and Miguel's fighting for his sensei. You know what I mean? And it puts them at odds when they shouldn't have been in the first place. It's just like bad timing, bad circumstance. Like, damn it, Yeah.
And then like linking it to what we were saying earlier, that whenever he shows care for Robbie, Miguel suffers, and when he shows Miguel care, Robbie suffers. The car scene before the school fight.
I was hoping you'd mention it.
William Zabka's favorite scene of the whole season. And it's literally just like Robbie saying, "Thanks for driving me, Dad." Like it's that moment where it's like, shit, man, I've been rooting for Miguel and Johnny this whole time, but Robbie and Johnny, like, and then that's the conflicted nature where you're like, man, I just want this guy to have both of his boys, stop this crap. And then obviously the chaos ensues, and then shit goes astray. And then to Miguel's credit, he shows mercy by being what Johnny wants him to be, and what Johnny knows him to be. And then, in a moment of anger, Robbie just literally just unleashes on him. And the camera lingers on Robbie. As soon as it goes over, he's like, what the hell did I just do? I've literally just kicked someone over a railing. And the reason Robbie runs away is because who did he learn it from? Johnny.
No such thing as a bad student.
He learned it from watching his dad. When times got tough, his dad ran away. So what does he do? He runs away. He causes a situation, runs away. And even in season 3, like, we won't transition to it fully yet, but he mentions, I'm the one who kicked Miguel over the right. He feels guilty, like, for what he did. And then obviously things kind of transpire and all that kind of stuff. So I hope season 5 does really pay that off, and Robbie apologizes to kicking him over a railing. Like, I'm just saying, like, the rivalry is one thing, but it's like, Robbie, you're my son, but good Lord. But with season 2, there's so much groundwork that's laid, and then you sort of see it's sort of that test of good and evil. Robbie and Miguel both have moments in season 2 where they're tested, and then you see Miguel sort of have a bit more of a dark side edge to him. And then he was like, this isn't a tournament, it's real life. And Johnny's like, is that how you want to live your life? And
he takes that to heart. Yeah.
And he takes that to heart, And then he's the only student in that dojo that really listened. And obviously Kreese was manipulating the strings and all that kind of stuff like he always does. But it was so heartbreaking to see the school. Like, it was so epic, but so heartbreaking that the school fight played out the way it did, because it could have been avoided. It did not need to go to that.
And nobody won. Nobody won.
Like, if you think about it objectively,
Dimitri was the only person that really won.
Dimitri was the only person that really won. Everyone else got screwed. No one else really won. Like, Sam got scars and beaten up. Tori got her ass
PTSD
handed to
also,
her
yeah.
and all that, and PTSD. And then Tori got her ass beaten and expelled, and then, you know, added another problem to her plate that we learned later on. Robbie nearly killed someone and then got sent on the run when he was turning everything around and trying to make his life better. Then you got Miguel trying to be the best kid he could be and have that heart to say, you know what, I'm sorry. And then he gets kicked over a railing for showing mercy. Every kid gets screwed. Dimitri's probably the only one that comes out on top.
He's the only one that
He's the only one that comes out of there with relatively unscathed kind of things, you know? And it's such a shame because when Johnny and Daniel were in that elevator, they don't need to say anything. They don't need to say nothing.
And I blame them for why the school fight happened.
And it's them.
I blame them.
It's down to them.
100%.
Because they just couldn't get over their rivalry to a point. Like, it's like when Robbie and Sam are at Johnny's apartment, Daniel, obviously, from his perspective, he's like, listen, I want to know where my daughter is. Open this door. And Johnny's like, look, just calm down. Because he knows how emotional Daniel can be. He doesn't want him to overreact and do something ridiculous. And then they get in a fight. Daniel getting salty that he just got kicked in the TV, blows at Robbie. And then, you know, Johnny then goes, you know what, Daniel, ugh. But Robbie literally says to Johnny, look, I know you don't want to hear it, but he was good to me, which Johnny literally says in season 4 at the end.
You both can learn a lot from each other.
But you both could learn a lot from each other. They don't give Robbie that line to have him be a dark side guy forever. Like, he was put in Miyagi-Do for 2 seasons for a reason. And if you go back to season 1, when he's fighting Miguel, he's looking towards Miguel's direction, but he's looking at his father. He's not necessarily doing it to get at Miguel. He's not necessarily doing it for Sam. He's doing it to prove a point to his dad. And, you know, when Daniel's like, listen to me, Robbie looks like he's about to bloody shed a tear again. Like, he looks like he's scared to face his father. And that's that conflict that Johnny has to go through to see both of his boys fighting and duking it out. And excuse me to just break story 1 second here. I'm sick of seeing these two fight, man. Like, I've had enough. Like, can we stop this? Like, I'm speaking from an older brother perspective. Can we just bring the boys home? Like, enough now. I'm tired of this. Like, just give them a happy closure bit for 1 season at least. Because I tell you, when these two team up, who's touching them? No one at all.
You pretty much only need these two. They're an army.
It's like we said before. If Johnny is to get hurt, these two are pulling up on Silver.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
They'll get laid out, but just imagine Darkseid Robbie and Darkseid Miguel at the same time.
Coming off the back of, you know what I mean, season 2, Darkseid Miguel possibly coming back, and then season 4, Darkseid Robbie coming back. Jesus Christ. Jesus.
I love it. Yeah. And it's just, there's so many moments across season 2 where you see these two have very similar arcs that run literally in tandem.
Yeah.
It's literally in tandem right up until the school fight. It's ridiculous. And, you know, we're at a point now where everyone's like, I want Robbie to win this fight in season 5. I want Miguel to win. I don't want either of them to win. I don't want either of them to win or lose. I want them to both be about to lose and go, you know what? What the hell are we doing? This is ridiculous. Like, I know people love drama. Oh, there's a bit of drama. Like, I know they love that. But speaking about it again, just from an older brother perspective, I don't want this anymore. It's got to a point where I'm tired of this. Like, stop having these two fight. You're delaying the inevitable. But there's a reason why Robbie and Miguel have been on opposite sides of the fence for 5 seasons.
Because you can't have them together because it's pretty much over.
Have them together because then it's a wrap. Like, then you basically what happens then? Whatever team these two are both on, that's the good guys. Whatever
that's where the difference is.
That's the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
You remove that gray when you put Robbie and Miguel on the same page. You remove that gray, and I think we are going back to that, where Sensei Kim and her 6, like, you know, henchmen and Silver. We're going back to the black and white era. Like, Cobra Kai is the villain now. They are the bad guys. Everyone needs to unite at Miyagi, Fang, or whatever it is now. Unite over there properly, not like a season 4 half, like a proper united thing. And Robbie and Miguel are the catalysts for that. Once you have these two on the same page, what kid in Cobra Kai, doesn't matter if it's Sean or whoever, who's doing it? No one, you know? And it's crazy. Like, season 2, man, I think you'll agree. It sets so much up.
Well, I guess it's my cue to talk about season 2. So I remember the first time I saw season 2, I was like, "Oh, this is cool." Like the only thing for season 2 that did it for me was the school fight. But then I rewatched it, and like you said, you start to notice the subtle nuances that like while watching season 2, it's going to come to a head eventually. Something is going to happen in the last episode.
Yeah.
And you go on this journey with all these kids, and especially with Robbie and Miguel, because their bonds with their respective senseis start to grow more, and then you have the fallout of the finale of the you know what I mean, the All Valley tournament.
Yeah,
where
we got nearly 90 people up on in here. Shout out to all you guys as well.
Shout out to you guys, holy shit. But yeah, as I was saying, you have the fallout of the All Valley, where you know what I mean, it finally sinks into Miguel that shit, you know what I mean, I won, but I didn't really win. You know what I mean? I got the trophy, but
El
I lost the girl.
Serpiente, you're like Drake.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to. He's like, I don't want to.
Don't worry, you're not. Yeah, don't worry, you're not.
You're not.
And
it's like me
it's
saying, no, I'm the best. It's like, you're not.
You're not. And season, you know what I mean, the All Valley final is so crazy because it's literally a replay of Johnny versus Daniel in the first movie. You know what I mean? You're just like, shit, like, where is this gonna go? And you're rooting for the both of them. You're just like I knew Miguel was gonna win. I was hoping he was gonna win.
It was a given that Miguel was gonna win.
But
and
like,
rightly so.
But props to like Robbie for like he pretty much faced him with one hand. Like,
it's as I said, Miguel has Miguel is the most determined fighter, but Robbie is naturally just the most gifted. Like
I was gonna say that, yeah. And when you get to, you know what I mean, the final kick, you're just like, you know, Robbie loses, but what Daniel tells him, he's like, you know what I mean, you fought with honor, you didn't. So in reality, you're the real winner.
Oh, and he forgives Johnny as well briefly. Like, he doesn't fully forgive him, but he's like, it's okay, Dad. It's okay.
Yeah.
And that's the start.
And you know what I mean, Miguel wins, but he wins the trophy and the glory and stuff, but he loses the girl. So you get to season 2, and Johnny really gets to him, like, you know what I mean, I want you to be better. Because Miguel's whole arc in season 2, he wants to prove himself more, but he also wants to be the best student he can for his sensei. And Johnny wants that for him. And you see the same thing happen with Robbie.
Please his father.
Yeah, and you have the same thing happening with Robbie, where he's trying to be the best he can be and growing that connection with his sensei and starting to, you know what I mean, take that leadership role at Miyagi-Do along with Sam. And here's the thing. Whenever, you know, whatever dojo Robbie and Miguel are in, they're always the number ones.
They're always the number one.
They're always the number ones, whatever dojo they're in. And for the longest time I was always like, okay, Miguel's number 1 and Robbie's number 2, or, you know, number 1.5 or whatever. But rewatching this whole show, you're just like, shit, like, you know what I mean? They're both number 1. Like, holy crap, you know what I mean? So, and it all comes to a head because they don't have many scenes together in season 2.
No, they really don't. They don't even have that many scenes with each other across the whole show.
In general, yeah. They only have the Medal of Honor scene, which was really petty on Robbie's part. But
yeah, I was like, Robbie, you bad boy, naughty.
Yeah, but you start to see that Miguel isn't a bad person or anything. You know what I mean? He's not. What he did in the All Valley was messed up, but he was just in a headspace where, like, he was being taught that. You know what I mean? He's never hated Robbie. He's never had, you know what I mean? He doesn't like Robbie, but he's never hated him. But you know what I mean? They start to have these, you know, scenes together, and, you know, they have that scene at the roller rink, I think it was.
Yeah.
And they don't throw any verbal jabs at each other. They don't even talk to each other.
They're just there to have actually a fun time. They're not focused on it's Tori and Sam that kind of.
Mm-hmm. And even, you know what I mean? Miguel goes, this is, you know, this is Sam and Robbie. He doesn't go, this is Sam and you, Robbie. Like,
Sam
he just
and
goes,
shithead.
He just goes, this is Sam and Robbie. Like, that's it, you know?
Yeah,
and it doesn't come to a head until the school fight where Robbie, they both willingly, here's the thing about Robbie and Miguel in the school fight. They both willingly put themselves at harm's way to protect someone else. Robbie gets in there to save Sam.
They both do it. They both think because they're the leaders of their dojos.
Exactly. They have to do something.
They're the hero. Like, obviously Miguel is going to come and go, hey, you know, it's kind of funny his face that he makes that. It's there's a reason for it, you know?
Yeah. And Robbie throws himself in the middle to break up the fight, but Miguel, like the showrunners, man, they have Miguel purposely come in late to see something like that. And he's just like, if you think about it from Miguel's mind, he's just like, okay, this dude is starting a fight. He has his hands on my girl, and it happens to be my rival. I got to do something. I'm
Quite
putting you down
literally in this
because
region too.
exactly because there's scenes before Miguel was never like, I'm gonna kick your ass. It was always like, I'll fight you if you make a move. And the same thing
Yeah,
with Robbie.
I'm ready
He's
when
like,
you are.
yeah, and Robbie was always like, I'll fight you if you make a move.
I'll
so
fight you if you make a move. So who's gonna
yeah.
strike first?
And the whole time in the school fight, like they're all like kicking each other's ass and everything. But with Robbie and Miguel, it's like it's all personal. But with Robbie and Miguel, it's personal. Like this is a season 2, like 2 seasons worth of we're fighting for, you know, Johnny and Sam. Like I'm kicking your ass, and it's always throughout the whole school fight. It's always
all that anger that like they try to be like Robbie tries to be what Daniel wants him to be. Miguel tries to be what Johnny wants him to be. But they have so much pent up anger and aggression and hostility that in the school fight, it all just comes out, all of it, you know, like that move, learn it from your dad. And then it's just like, you know, you can't cheat your way out of this one. You know, it's everything
exactly.
Comes to
they're throwing these verbal jabs at each other. We're just like, this is personal. Like this is a blood feud. You know what I mean? And their whole fight in the school fight, it's always like, if one person gets a hit in, the other person gets a hit in, and they're constantly like, you know what I mean, moving around each other.
Like before Robbie throws Miguel into the locker, like Miguel's like punching him, he's like and then Robbie dashes him in the locker. Like it's always back and forth.
Mm-hmm. And the whole fight, it's like the beginning of the fight, it's like Robbie's defending himself, Miguel's attacking. But later on in the fight, it becomes Robbie's attacking and Miguel has to defend himself because he's like, oh shit, like I have to.
And then by the time they get to the railing, it's like back and forth.
Yeah, and
dodging,
Miguel kicks Miguel. Yeah, Miguel kicks him, and Robbie almost goes over too. I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Yeah,
Robbie almost.
I'm glad that you brought that up because everyone seems to forget that. Miguel boots him to the point where Robbie's like this.
Yeah, he has to like catch himself. He
could have easily gone over as well.
Mm-hmm. And
imagine the arc that could have given Miguel as well.
That would have been but like their fight, you know what I mean? They're the only kids still fighting, and when Miguel has
everyone else is down and out. And Hawk's been kicked into the trophy case. They're still fighting.
Yeah, and when he has him down, he's, you know, he's thinking about what his sensei's telling him. He's like, I can't break his arm because A, this is my sensei's kid, and B, my sensei wants me to be better than he was. I'm gonna let him go. Mm-hmm. And for a second there, when he goes, I'm sorry, I've always interpreted that he's sorry for just everything. I think he's sorry for because he knows everything about Robbie after that burger scene. You know what I mean? He knows that Robbie's had a hard go at it.
He's got that playing on his mind.
Exactly. He knows, like, shit, you know what I mean? Like, and
that'll link to when we get to season 3, because when Robbie joins, like, we'll link that. But yeah, like, he feels sorry for him, you know?
Mm-hmm. And it's like, fuck, like, you know what I mean? You start to see it on Miguel's face.
You know, I've had enough of you. Like, I'm done feeling sorry for you. But at this particular moment, he's, like, you know, sympathetic.
Yeah, and he's, like, thinking about all the things. You can tell, like, Sholo's such a great actor because he's not talking or anything. He's just like, you can see it in his
facial expression.
He's reflecting on his actions, and he's just like,
one picture says 1,000 words.
Yeah, and he's just like, damn it. So he lets him go, and it's so interesting because this time the Miyagi-Do shows no mercy, and the Cobra Kai shows mercy. So it's like, it's just like, whoa, you know. And when he kicks him over the railing, I remember watching just be like, that didn't just happen. But when you see Miguel hit the thing, you're just like, oh my god, like that
and you're
just
supposed
happened.
To hate Robbie in that moment. You're like, what the hell have you just done?
Exactly. You're just like, dude, what are you doing? But Robbie's face isn't like he didn't mean to do that. It's not of when he sees Miguel.
And
he's not like
the context. Like Miguel literally threw a verbal jab at him about his father and then Sam. And Robbie has had 16, 17 years of anger and hate. And if you don't find a way to channel that, it's going to come out in an explosion. And Miguel felt the effects of it. And
his look when he sees Miguel on the floor, it's not like a conviction, like I beat him. It's more of like,
suck it, Miguel. He's just like
I just did something. Like for all he knows, for all Robbie knows, like he almost like in Robbie's mind, he's like, shit, I just killed this guy.
He's concerned. He's probably just killed him. Like,
and it's like, oh shit,
you literally sentenced Miguel to death. Like the fact that Miguel didn't hit his head and hit his back,
he got lucky.
If it was his head and he got whiplash, that's it.
And their arcs come into parallel again by the end of season 2, where it's this time they both fall from grace. You know what I mean? Robbie falls from grace, but Miguel falls, you know what I mean, hard, and he starts to question his philosophy. And by the end,
they polar opposite thing of Robbie gives into his anger, Miguel resists the anger.
Exactly,
and that there's a consequence to both.
Yeah, and they both, you know what I mean. That's what starts season 3. Is that by the time you get to season 3, both Robbie and Miguel are questioning their mentors. They're questioning if they exactly, like, have we been taught the right thing? You know what I mean? Have we been taught what we were supposed to be taught? You know what I mean? I did everything you taught me, and look what happened to me. But season 2 is just one of the best finales because it sets up. So, like, we're still recovering from the finale of season 2. You know what I mean? Like, it's bizarre. So,
mad,
season
bro.
2, season 2 is just,
it has one of the best second act endings I've ever seen. Like, because it follows the second act formula. Like, that's how you end the second act. You end it on a dark note, like a dark note, like a real. That's dark. It's still
because no one won.
It's still the darkest finale of the show. Like, it's. And Johnny sat there on the beach, like half in the bag, like Daniel's broken, the dojos are closed, like, you know, Cobra Kai's like victorious, Kreese has taken Cobra Kai back. You know, the students hate Johnny. They blame him for it. You know, Hawk is resentful towards, like, Hawk's resentment to Johnny grows across the entirety of season 2. And then by the time that Kreese takes the dojo, he's like, nah, I'm fully on board with Kreese. Fuck you. Like, he's fully, he's out. You know?
And he's even like, he even tells Johnny, he's like, it's because of you that Miguel showed mercy to, you know, Robbie. It was because of you that this happened. You know what I mean? And it could have gone a bad way, but Miguel made the right decision there. You know,
Miguel made, and this fight in season 5 will show us Miguel still made the right decision.
Because it could have ended horribly.
Could have gone worse. They both kind of got off lucky. Both of them could have gone over the railing.
But they both, out of all the kids, they both suffered the most like consequences. You know, Miguel ended up in a coma. Robbie ended up in juvie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's poetic too, because it's like our leaders of our respective dojos suffered the most, and now we're without them.
Yeah.
You know, and that led for Sam to step up, and that led
Sam
for Hawk
to shine. Yeah. Is you take the leaders out of the situation, and then, you know, for all intents and purposes, the first mate has to step up. And with Miguel and Robbie, it was about rediscovering who they were. And Miguel was like, okay, let's try this Miyagi-Do stuff. Let's check it out. Why not? And then Robbie was like embracing his Cobra. Like, I suppose we can transition to season 3.
Now we can, yeah.
I'm going to say this. This season is my favorite for a whole load of reasons. But one of which is Miguel and Robbie's journeys. Like, Miguel's journey into walking again and rebuilding himself up. It was natural that he would let go of his Cobra Kai, not necessarily forever his Cobra Kai roots, but he would start transitioning on a new journey into a Miyagi-Do type Miguel, as they call him. With Robbie, it was like, okay, we're embracing his bloodline, we're embracing his anger, we're not hiding it anymore. We're not using Daniel's passive teachings to hide it. We're embracing the fact that Robbie has anger and resentment to Johnny. And we're tapping into it. Now, I have my feelings on how season 4 handled it mostly. But in regards to season 3, they went all in. And I loved it. I was like, you know what? As much as I want Robbie home, and I'm glad I got that. It was heartbreaking to see. But I was I'm conflicted. Because
it felt fresh,
I was
too.
happy to see it. I was also sad. I was like, this is fucking heartbreaking. He spent 2 seasons trying to turn his life around, and now he's given into the dark side. He's given into his full-on anger, and he's
accepting his birthright. Yeah.
I love that. Say that again.
He's accepting his birthright.
Oh, I love that. He's accepting his birthright, and Miguel is rebuilding himself anew. And throughout the season, despite everything that Robbie's done to him, when they first interact after Robbie's out of juvie, after getting tossed around by Sean like a ragdoll,
episode 8,
like in episode 8, Robbie attempts to strike first, and there's a score that plays after Sam pushes him. I'm like, because now he's got Miyagi-Do defense, but he's embracing his anger for Cobra Kai offense. Shit. Dangerous.
Shit.
Season 4 didn't go all in with it, but dangerous. Very, very dangerous. And when he tries to hit Miguel, RJ brought up a great point about this. So shout out to you, RJ, if you're in the comments section.
Miguel doesn't back down either.
Sam didn't know that it was a full-on accident. She assumed that maybe Robbie did it on purpose. So if she sees Robbie trying to lunge for Miguel like that, she's going to think Robbie intentionally kicked him over. So Sam, like, look at, like, Mary's acting in that scene. Sam looks horrified. She looks scared. Like, she's like, oh my God, what the hell? Like, I don't recognize you at all. Who are you? What have you? Where's Robbie? What are you?
You see that hurt in her eyes. Like, what are you about to do? Like,
she's like, Robbie, don't. And then she looks scared. Like, she's like, I'm looking at a monster, and that's what Robbie becomes. He literally becomes a full-on monster, and in that scene,
becomes the thing he swore to destroy. Yeah.
Oh, baby, just allow me to just zoom. Raising a toast to you. But with that, like, in that same scene, Miguel isn't like, you fucking arsehole. Like, he's quite sympathetic. He's like, man, what are you doing, man? Like, he feels pity. He's like,
yeah, it's a flip from the beach fight.
Yeah, it's literally a full circle in that moment, and it switches them in their places and stuff. And in that moment, you're sort of seeing a scenario where Robbie's like feeling this anger and resentment, and in his eyes, he's thinking, right, Sam, you've chosen him over me. That's basically what's happened here, and that's not necessarily what's happening. But because all he's seen by his father growing up and what he's seen with Miguel, Robbie takes that, okay, you've made your choice. I'm going to go make mine. And, you know, Robbie was back at Miyagi-Do there briefly. Like, he didn't go straight to crease. He may have been like, hey, maybe there could still be something here for me. And that was like the nail in the coffin. It was like, okay, I'm out. Bye-bye. And I love the way the scene is like dimly lit, the clouds, the darkness, like the ever looming darkness in the scene and the haunting nature of it and what it sets up. It was at that point I was like, yeah, Robbie's definitely winning next season. Now, obviously, we know now that he doesn't win, but it was in the original script for Robbie to win. I'm just putting it out there. And then they changed it. He originally won. And it's because that scene literally set it up. It set him up to win, to get his own bag. And Miguel across the season, especially Miguel's speech at the council meeting before that, you know, was like, I thought I was going to be paralyzed, you know, and he talks about how his, you know, Johnny helped him rediscover that fire that he had. Like, I love that stuff. And then when Miguel's standing again after, he's like, you know, quiet, you know, you let Chris take your dojo, you know, and he's unloading on him. He's barraging him with all these verbal insults. And then he's standing, you know, and then him and Johnny hug, and it's just like, man. See, because like Robbie and Miguel don't really interact much in season 3, but they
just have that one
so important for the fight that's about to happen in season 5.
So similar too. Yeah.
Absolutely. Especially with like the way season 1 opens up. And to Sam's credit, you know, she's replays that memory in her head. She's like, you know, Miguel would fall, Robbie would run, and I just feel so guilty, and I feel guilty with what they're going through. You know, it's just, and that is meant to be the writers, at least this is how I interpret it. That's the writers telling us, hey, you should feel kind of bad for both. This shouldn't be happening to either of them. This is terrible for both of them. You know, the fact that they're in this situation, you know, it's mad. I mean, I could go on all day, every day for season 3, but please consult my 50 Robbie videos on it. But, you know, I just love that Robbie and Miguel's arcs are separate this season. And there's one moment that really encapsulates everything about this love triangle. When Johnny says, no. When visitation tomorrow, Velasquez, Espinoza, Keene. And then obviously with the trailer, Kreese visits him. So you're thinking, is it going to be Kreese, Lawrence, John? And I'm like, oh, shit. And then, you know, that I was interested. I was like, oh, my God, like, we're going to get that before we get Kreese? Okay, interesting. And then Robbie looks like he's on the verge of crying again. He's like, my dad's, he's come for me. Like, he's come home. Well, he's not come home. Like, he's choosing me. And then Yaya begs Johnny to stay. And then he chooses Miguel. And then Robbie's like,
yeah,
it's normal. This was before Miguel. Before Miguel even came in the picture, this is what I was living with. He never cared. He's like, he's not coming. I knew it, you know? It's just that whole arc that runs across the season, and then you got Robbie falling to the dark side. And one of my favorite shots in probably movies and shows is when Robbie's unloading on Johnny. You are weak, and then you got the Cobra Kai philosophy on the wall. Now that might have just been accidental, but I love visual storytelling. Like,
he's embracing his birthright in that scene.
The philosophy on the wall is coming more and more into shot as he's unloading on Johnny. Now, it could have just been because it's the scene of the dojo, but I love the visual storytelling on display there. It's so powerful. And then after all that happens and Johnny slams him into a locker, with Miguel outside, he's got that same look again. He's like, it's like he's not sad, but he's pity. He's like, man, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? And it's almost like, damn, man, I feel bad for you, Johnny, but Jesus, man, you screwed up with this guy hard, dude. And then it's just like, man, because he knows what's going to happen. Like, Miguel knows better than anyone what's going to happen with the Cobra Kai teachings. He knows, even in season 4, briefly, like as Robbie floors Kenny, Miguel has that same look again. Always has that look. But yeah, man, season 3 elevates these two. Now, get those notes, sir.
Well, season 3 also happens to me to be my favorite season because it's a flip in the script and everyone changes, you know what I mean? And you see people step up and embrace the thing they should have. And what's interesting about season 3 is that you have our heroes literally broken down and have to build themselves back up again into something better. Miguel has to build himself back up literally physically to where he was before, and Robbie has to build himself back up mentally, you know what I mean, and embrace, because what's interesting about season 3, both Robbie and Miguel are embracing the philosophies they shouldn't have been in the first place, you know what I mean? Miguel should have been with the Miyagi-Do philosophy, Robbie should have been with the Cobra Kai philosophy. And when the first episode, I love the first episode because the dream sequence Miguel has, he's imagining that he's fighting Robbie. You know what I mean? There's flashbacks there that are showing. And you know what I mean? It could have ended very badly, but he chooses to fight. And thank God he did, because we have our boy back. And we see what they're both doing in the fallout of the school fight. And, like I mentioned earlier, they both start to question their sensei's ideals and their philosophies and whether or not they were with the right person to begin with. Mm-hmm. And Robbie, when we see Robbie, he feels guilty, like, for what he did. You know what I mean? He blames. I love that scene. The blame should be on Sam, but he's blaming himself for what happened.
Yeah, and he asks if Sam's okay and everything. He's like, but I caused all this. I'm the one who kicked Miguel over the railing and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah, and they both literally and physically have to build themselves back up again into something better. You know what I mean? Miguel chooses to go more light with it. Robbie decides to go more dark with it. And Miguel, he has everyone in his corner in season 3. You know what I mean? He loses a few people, but he gains more people back. Everyone's rooting for him. Robbie, there's nobody rooting for him in season 3. He feels alone. He feels like everyone's just abandoned him. And it makes sense why he chooses to go with Cobra Kai, because he feels at home there. You know what I mean? He's like, I've been trying to fight this. I might as well just embrace it because I have nothing left. I literally have nothing left to live for. I might as well embrace what people wanted from me in the first place.
Yeah, if you tell someone they are something, eventually they'll start to believe it.
Yeah, and it was so interesting to finally see Robbie embrace the Cobra Kai philosophy, because
embrace his roots.
He's the son of Johnny Lawrence, you know what I mean? And Kreese, since the beginning, has continually mentioned that Robbie should be in Cobra Kai, that you should be training that boy. Every chance he gets, he always talks about how Robbie should be in Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
And
I mean, in a way, in season 5, Kreese can say to Johnny, "You're welcome. That's what I do."
Yeah. And when you get to episode 3, what's so interesting, I found a parallel, is that in season 1, episode 3, Miguel thinks he knows he knows everything. He tries to use his abilities in a real world scenario. He gets his ass kicked. Robbie in season 3, episode 3, he tries to use everything he knows in a real world scenario. He gets his ass kicked. Miguel in episode 5 uses it again this time, he uses the Cobra Kai philosophy in the right way, he wins. Robbie in episode 5 of season 3, he uses the Cobra Kai philosophy the right way, and he fucking wins. So again, they're both have these similar arcs where they're running in tandem with each other. And even though they're not together, they still have these similar arcs where they have to, like I said earlier, literally become something better and new. And when you get to episode 8, it's the first time they've seen each other since the school fight. And Robbie's intention isn't to fight Miguel at first. He's mainly there just to talk to Sam. And it's a flip in the script from the beach fight where it was Miguel being the aggressor and Robbie coming to Sam's defense. Now it's Miguel coming to Sam's defense and Robbie being the aggressor. And when he throws a punch at Miguel, you're just like, Robbie, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, you literally, like, it's a miracle this guy's walking again. Like, first of all, he's alive. You know, like, and
that's a miracle in and of itself. Like, everyone that was upset about him losing the All Valley in the next season, guys, he's walking again. That's a miracle.
That's a miracle.
He's able to throw a kick should be like, holy how? Wow.
And what's so sad about the episode 8 scene is just like he if he hadn't already, he literally falls from grace in that scene because he's trying to fight somebody that he almost killed. He doesn't even apologize for it. And props to Miguel for not even backing down. You know what I mean? Dude just got back. And again, he's just like, I'll fight you if you make a move. And he's just like, I don't think Sam wasn't there, he would have. Yeah. And what's so sad about that scene too is that Sam knows these guys. She knows the best parts of these guys.
And what parallel does that run to, Johnny?
You know,
people. All I wanted to do was talk to you, and then Miguel keeps butting in.
Yeah.
Johnny Daniel.
And she knows that they're good kids, you know, in a sense. They're both good people. It's just that the perspective shift.
Before, when she's like, you know, you're a good person.
Don't do this. Yeah. And then when you get to the finale, like I remember in the finale at the house fight, I was like, are they just gonna have Robbie like fight Miguel because he's
the whole
paralyzed? Like
watching that, I was like, are they just gonna have Miguel show up at the end or something? Robbie show up at the end. I was like, don't do that. But what they did, I was like, oh dear, father son time.
It was a given that if Robbie was there, he would have destroyed Miguel because Miguel just literally just got back from injury. But I like that they didn't do that.
Like Kyler for a hot minute.
Kyler, like Jesus, and
Robbie would have fucking destroyed him.
But Miguel rises. You know what I mean? I love the season 3, the finale. I love that finale so much. My favorite scene is where where Miguel kicks Kyler's ass because
and
he's hearing the words
he's punching, and then Miguel gets the motivation to like just shimmy him this way, like the drum technique, put him that way, right there, and then all of a sudden does his flip, and then he just goes bang right in his face, and then spins around, does another kick, and then does a little spinneroonie, and then thanks for the motivation.
I love that, and that starts his rising.
Bring that Miguel back.
Yeah, that starts his rising moment where he's just like, okay, now game on. And again, like you said, like the saddest scene in the whole show is Miguel, you know what I mean, falling and hitting the the railing.
Yeah.
But the most heartbreaking scene is when Robbie fights his father. You know what I mean? It's like, damn it, circumstance brought us to this. Like, it's just so sad. And you see that he's convinced that, like, Kreese has convinced him that Johnny is his enemy. You know what I mean?
He's tapped into it. It's almost brainwashing, or tapping into his insecurities and saying, nah, take all that energy and put it to an enemy. The real enemy isn't yourself. It's
and people don't give Johnny enough credit. Like, the reason he went to that dojo was to fight for his son.
For Miguel.
Yeah, he fights for Miguel. Then he sees what he's doing to his.
I mean, as we said, like, his intention when he goes there is to whoop Kreese's ass for putting Miguel in the condition that he's in. He's like, you look what you've done to my boy. That's basically my son. You've battered him. You've got my son in a Cobra Kai gi. All right, now you got to fuck off. Now we're fighting. Now that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
Like, you see the look Johnny gives him, where Kreese is like, "This is your last chance, Johnny. You in? Or are you out?" And he's smiling like this. And then Johnny's just like, and then Robbie says, "Listen to him, Dad. He only wants what's best for you." And then Johnny's just
that's when he knows.
Yeah. And then he's just like, "Yeah, I've had enough. I'm going all in. I'm taking you out now. You've hurt one of my boys, and you've stolen my son, which I'm glad Silver brings up to him. It's just like I'm kicking your ass now." And then Johnny's on defense, and then Robbie's like trying to unload on him and stuff. It's so sad. It's just like it could have been avoided, you know. But
Yeah.
he's literally unleashing all of his years of pent up anger and rage, paying off the scene in season 1. It's like, hey, Dad, back off. If you want to fight him, you have to fight me first. You know, he's taking all that anger and throwing it Johnny's way. And to Johnny's credit, he's not reacting. And in reaction, he throws him into a locker. But with every punch, every swing, every kick, he's letting out all those years of anger. And he could have gone on longer.
That's his realization. Like,
that's the moment Johnny realizes
how badly he screwed up with Robbie.
Yeah. Oh shit. Like, I fucked up badly.
Yeah.
Badly.
And to Johnny's credit, also, he was gonna kill Kreese when he grabbed the sai or whatever, and he was gonna kill Kreese, but it's because of his son he didn't kill Kreese. Robbie's like, don't do it.
That's the thing, buddy. Robbie literally says to him, you know, don't do it. And then he's just like, you know, that's Robbie having every season. Robbie has a line that pays off something. Like season 2 is like, you and LaRusso could learn a lot from each other. Season 3 is like, you know, don't do it. Like there's always some kind of line he has in the finale that alludes to a potential decision that could be life altering. It's just something that I noticed.
Yeah. And other than that, yeah. And then what? Oh my God, I remember I talked to you about this scene. The scene where Robbie walks out, like, you know, from his head injury, and he sees, you know, Daniel, Johnny, Sam, and Miguel there. You know what I mean? Miguel has this look of like, just like, he's not angry or anything. He's just like, you know, like,
someone's got to get an image selection, right, of the look that Miguel has on his face when he sees Robbie. Well, after Robbie tries to hit him in season 3, and then Robbie buggers off. That look. The second look is the look of the finale when, like, you know, Robbie joins Cobra Kai officially for some reason in season 4. Then he didn't, which was always weird. And then the one in the All Valley when Miguel, like, after Robbie floors Kenny, like, it's that same look. It's the same look 3 times.
Yeah, and
3 times.
Yeah, he's just like, dude, like, oh my God, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, damn, like you're. It's just so sad. Yeah, and Robbie chooses to go with Kreese. And what's so sad is that you get to the final scene, as great as it is seeing them all to come together to take down
There's someone
Kai,
missing.
There's someone missing, man. Robbie should have been. He was with them in the beginning, but now he's on the other side, and it's so sad. And it makes you go, as sad as this is, I can't wait for season 4. You know what I mean? Let's go. But yeah, season 3, it's great. You know, you have them out of the picture. You have the 2 leaders out of the picture, and then they come back. And you know what I mean? It sets up season 4. So I think we could start season 4 now.
Damn right. Like, I love season 3. It's just my personal favorite. And it's just, I love the way they shine in season 3 in their own way. And Robbie gets a real world fight by himself. Like, you know, there's no better fight than a real world fight. It's no rules. Anything goes.
Yeah. As cool as the tournaments are, the real world fights, like the house fight and the school fight, are my favorites because it's like anything goes, man.
Anything goes. And bro, Robbie does a wall run and shit. I'm like, yo.
Yeah. Oh. Holy shit, yeah.
And one of my favorite shots that ever since it was shown in the trailer was
that. Oh God, where he's smiling. I love that scene, yeah. Because you're just like, oh, this kid is like, he's in it now.
I was like, yo, he's embracing that dark side to another degree. I was like, I love it. But we can transition into season 4, bollocks. And for this season, Robbie and Miguel don't really interact much. And that's the antithesis of their rivalry, is the first 2 seasons, misunderstanding, perception, no communication, and walking in at the wrong time. Season 3 and 4, it's got a bit of that, but season 3 and 4 is predominantly, they barely interact at all. Like, and anytime they do interact, it's just negative, you know?
Because season 3 and 4, we focus more on Tori and Sam's rivalry.
Yeah. Whereas theirs takes kind of like a bit of a backseat.
Yeah, that's why I'm so excited for season 5, because it's like, yes, we're getting back to that.
And it's like that break in between storms. But there's that moment in the All Valley where, you know, Miguel floors the opponent, and then Robbie's just like,
I was praying that you'd mention that. Yeah.
Like he's just like got his hands behind his back, and he's just like that. Yeah. Like, it's a blink and you'll miss it moment. And then there's the moment at the house situation, the episode prior, where, like, I don't know, Sam buggers off, the Cobra Kai lads go and do their thing, and then Robbie and Miguel are both looking at each other. It's that same Miguel look And then even Robbie has that look. They want to talk.
Yeah, because Robbie walks in smiling, and then he drops it as soon as he sees
Yeah,
Miguel.
it's just like that. And then, because they both want to talk. Robbie clearly probably wants to apologize. Miguel probably wants to apologize too for whatever he's done.
It's just who's going to break the ice.
It's just who's going to do it first. Like, you got to understand, these are two leaders of their individual respective dojos that are in a love triangle with the father who they're yearning for approval from. It's going to be a case of who's going to break that thing first. Now, when it comes to season 5, in my opinion, Robbie should, because he owes Miguel a little bit more just because of the injury. Like he's got to apologize for damn near killing the dude. But I think in that scene is very reflective of where we're at. It's just a conversation, but who's going to say it? Who's going to do it first? Yeah. And Sam sets it up in the beginning of season 4. You know, you're a good person. You know, my dad knows it. Your dad knows it. If you could just come back, you could help bring everyone together. And judging by some of the images we've got for season 5,
she was right.
She was right. She was right. I was eating my words on that in the other stream with the Kings the other week. But, you know, she was right. She was right. I mean, don't get wrong. She, you know, you're not getting what you want. And technically she didn't. But in a way she did. In a way. In a way. And there's just moments across season 4 that are like that. But season 4 is very much Robbie and Miguel centered, alone kind of thing. Like when Robbie approaches Johnny at his apartment, you know, he's like, you know, I tried to stop the fight. He escalated it. He's like, look, I wasn't there. And the whole show.
That's the problem.
Johnny knows exactly what to say to Miguel, but he doesn't know what to say to Robbie. He knows what will get Miguel riled up. He knows what will G him up. He knows how to motivate him, how to push him. And then you get to season 4, and then Johnny doesn't remember anymore. Like in the All Valley, like it's like it doesn't work anymore because Miguel's heart's not in it. Because there's that moment where Johnny's drunk. He's just had Silver kick his teeth in, you know. And he's like, I love you too, Robbie. And it's one of the most heartbreaking scenes I've seen. Sholo's performance in it was fantastic. Williams' performance was great. There wasn't any words that needed to be said for the heartbreak that everyone felt watching that scene where he said, I love you too, Robbie. And then Miguel just wanders out of shot like this, you know, just bawling like a baby and then leaving the room, like heartbreaking. And at that moment, I was like, yeah, he's going to lose. Yeah, he's going to lose because his heart's no longer in it. And that's the antithesis of the entire show is it's Johnny's struggle. Like that's what these two really represent is this story. As much as like season 5, I do feel will have it will have the focus on Daniel because it's still the Karate Kid story. It is Johnny's redemption story in a roundabout way. And
to build on what you said, sorry to interrupt you, but to build on what you said, you bring a good point that as much as this is a Karate Kid legacy continuation, this is Johnny's story. It's his redemption. And who's key to his redemption? Not obviously molding, you know, the wounds with Daniel, but who's key to his redemption? His sons, Robbie and Miguel. You know what I mean? Because as much as, you know what I mean, our main protagonists are Johnny and Daniel. But who do we focus on more? Johnny. Who are our secondary protagonists? Robbie and Miguel. Who do we focus on more? Miguel. So that's why their bond is so, you know what I mean, great and it's built upon. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was in the same kind of vein. Oh my god, they just released new Cobra Kai merch and equipment that's dropping on September 9th. You can actually buy official gis now.
No way.
Yeah, seriously. Like you can buy.
I wanted the training gear, man, that they had in season 4. Oh, that's awesome. I wanted the training gear.
I'm gonna buy one of each.
Yeah. Oh, that's too bad.
I'm gonna buy one of each. Oh, that's awesome. But they didn't release the vests that Robbie was wearing, or
that's what I was talking about.
The shirt that Tyler was wearing, or Terry Silver's long hoodie. I'm like, man, get that on merch. Sick. Do you know what? It took me and Shamoon going to Comic-Cons to cosplay for them to go, you know what? We should have some gis. Yeah. Duh. About time. I mean, hey, that's what I do. And I mean, that's what we do, you know, that's what we do. It's just what it is. But yeah, they don't really interact much this season because their arcs are kind of just focused specifically on themselves.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of that element where Johnny is struggling still to choose between both. And this season, he's more on the side of Miguel because after season 3's fallout, you know, it was just inevitable. And then Daniel reaches out to Robbie in one of my favorite scenes of the show. You know, Robbie
I love
walks in.
that scene.
He's got like the high five with the clerk, like he's got the street cred and all that shit. And then, you know, Daniel's just like coming in there and he's like, oh, you're going to give me a sales pitch, blah, 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 blah.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen.
So I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Silver's looming in the background, but before Robbie walks away, after Daniel tells it, Robbie lingers. He lingers.
He looks at him, yeah.
And it's just like, he's still in there. He's still in there.
Yep.
I see Miyagi-Do Robbie in there. And then when it happens, Robbie's realization is so strong, not just because history's repeat itself, but Daniel literally said this is what was going to happen. And Robbie's
cost
realized
him the tournament.
Yeah, and it not only cost him the tournament, but Robbie's realized I'm literally just like my dad.
Yeah. And now this kid is suffering because of me. Yeah.
Yep. And now Kenny's turned into a monster, you know, and I'm fascinated to see how they're going to handle that arc in season 5.
I can't wait for that. That's going to be awesome.
Between Robbie and Kenny, because, like, you know, even though Robbie's going to be teaming up with the good guys, you know, for all intents and purposes, he defends Kenny from Hawk, you know, and then Miguel defends Hawk from him. Like it's a back and forth.
It's like where does your allegiance lie, man?
And Robbie's, I think, going to be a bit of a gray. Like he's going to be like, man, who do I commit to? And then by the latter half of season 5, it's going to be Miyagi.
Anakin Skywalker.
And they even said it themselves. They said Anakin wishes he had this arc. I'm like, come on, they know. People watch, they know. But one of my favorite scenes in the whole show, you know what I'm building up to, the scene where Johnny goes back to his dojo after the defeat, right?
Yeah.
And his own bloodline caused the end of his business, right? Even though Robbie didn't win, he played a key role in it. And then when the camera lingers on Robbie, even though Robbie wins, technically, in a way, he doesn't win because he now sees what Johnny had. Even though Johnny won, he didn't really win. Like, it was at the cost of something. Script. And Robbie wins in a sense because of Tori, but he doesn't. You know, he's like, man, so victory is like that, but I didn't really win anything. Like, I booted Kenny right in the face. I've created a monster. I've done exactly what Johnny did with Miguel, before me. And Robbie learns the perspective of failure, where he basically, in an effort to be the bigger brother and the mentor that he wishes he had, or the older father figure type, he ends up causing the problem that he tries to prevent. And when he breaks down to Johnny, I love that there's no interruptions. The score is quiet. And he's just like, you know, you had a good thing going with the Russo. I got in the way of that. Don't blame yourself. You blame me. And even though Johnny is right, it is your fault. Yeah. Robbie has the maturity. And I love that Robbie makes the choice by himself. Because, I mean, if Robbie didn't come home, I'm not going to lie, the whole show was for nothing. Literally, it was for nothing.
Yeah. So, it was either he wins the tournament or he gets his father back. So it was like, well,
it was either or.
Yeah.
And when he's there and he says, I'm sick of blaming you, Dad, that is maturity, where it's like Robbie now understands what it's like to take someone under your wing and screw up massively.
And he's let go of that anger. Finally.
And he's let go of that anger. And he doesn't just say hate inside of me for you and for Miguel.
Yeah.
And the tear drops at the right moment, because that's the thing. Hate and anger, it can be a good motivator, but it can be really self-destructive. And it can...
You can lose yourself.
So much hate and anger within yourself, sometimes you don't realize the person you're becoming until you look at yourself in the mirror. Quite literally. Like, as Robbie did. It was like looking in a mirror. He sees... When Kenny's like, it's Cobra Kai, no mercy. Just with those lines, Robbie was like, man, I went fully unloading on my father, bloody hitting him, trying to kick him and everything. You know, I kicked Miguel over a railing with my anger and rage. Is that what I look like? Is that an inkling of what I look like?
Is this what I did to my sensei?
Yeah, like, is that his moment of realization where it's just like, oh my God, I've literally become the very thing I swore I would never be.
To destroy, yeah.
It's so heartbreaking, like that, and so bittersweet. Like, I was like, Johnny, if you don't hug him right now, you are the dumbest idiot I've ever seen. This is your goal. This is your moment. Right now. Do it right now. Like, I remember watching it with the lads, and the whole time, all I was saying was, oh, Robbie, come home, come home, come on, come home, come on, home now. yes, fucking perfect. And now it's time to go and get Miguel and bring him home. Bring everyone home. It's time. I've had enough of this back and forth. Bring everyone home. Enough said.
All right, I guess that's my cue. So yeah, season 4, there's so much going in because you're like, so what's gonna happen? Like, where do we go from here? What I like the most about season 4, like I said earlier, it was the lines were drawn and people were on the sides they should have been in from the beginning. So as badass as Hawk and Miguel are, with how they were before, they should have been with Miyagi-Do.
They are natural Miyagi-Dos.
And Robbie is a natural Cobra. So you had that thing where it's like, okay, so we're finally getting where it should have been from the first place. And what's so interesting is that they're learning, they start to learn, they don't realize it, but they learn a lot about each other from their different philosophies that they were embracing. You know what I mean? And you start to see, you know what I mean, especially with Miguel, the influence that Daniel has on his life now too, and getting that perspective of what it's like to try and balance your life out as best as you can. It's great. You know what I mean? You have the Karate Kids together. You know what I mean? The Karate Kid of his time and the Karate Kid of his time. Like, it's so beautiful. And what I love most about season 4 and the relationship between Miguel and Daniel is that, you know, Ali was the bridge for Johnny and Daniel. Then it was Robbie who became the bridge for Johnny and Daniel. Now it's Miguel. So, you know what I mean? It's just like, and what's so interesting, what's so interesting about season 4 is while Robbie was with the good guys, he still had that Miyagi-Do in him. You know what I mean? Like, he still had that philosophy.
Especially when Kenny was, like, you know, entering the fray. As soon as Kenny said that I'm being harassed, like, Robbie, without hesitation, is like, I'm gonna teach you. And then when he gets kicked out of the class and loses, like, Robbie has that look that he always has where it's like, I got to do something here. And he tries to he teaches him Miyagi-Do teachings.
Yeah. And like I was saying, you know, they don't have any scenes together other than the drive-in scene now, which you know what I mean, really pissed me off because it was so like,
that I didn't bring that up because I was just like, you remember what happened the last time we fought? I was like, oh, Robbie.
It's just like, what the hell? It was so it felt like an out of character thing for me where I was just like, dude, why would you say that? Like, this dude almost died. You know what I mean? So your first thing to do is when you see him is to fight him, and the second thing you want to do is throw it in his face. Like, okay, whatever, man. But again, props to Miguel for not backing down. I love that. But again,
I like his, no weapons. Takes a real, you know.
I love how he looks at Tori when he says no weapons. I love that.
Yeah, we won't need him. It's like, well, needed him then.
Yeah, and they don't have any scenes together, but it's so interesting to see Miguel interact with Daniel, you know what I mean, and Robbie to interact with Terry Silver. Like,
yeah, and more with Kreese. Like, I would have thought about season 3. Like, Robbie and Kreese's scenes in season 3, I freaking loved. Even the deleted scene. Oh my god!
The deleted. We talked about that one.
Where Kreese is like, no crane kick BS beats Johnny Lawrence. The reason Johnny lost is because of his heart. And why did Miguel lose? Heart, baby.
And just seeing Miguel just learn from Daniel was so great. It was just like, yes, you know what I mean? And him, and while he was training with Daniel, he wasn't choosing Daniel over Johnny, you know what I mean? He still had Johnny in his life. He was just like, what if I want to learn it my own way?
Fascinating to me. This is a new thing, you know? And Miguel is naturally more suited to Miyagi-Do. Like, it's...
Yeah. And the same for Robbie with Cobra Kai.
As great as Hawk and Miguel are, they molded themselves to be Cobra Kai. Robbie is naturally a Cobra Kai.
Yeah. He's Cobra Kai from the 80s. He
passes a natural Miyagi-Do too, but like in just broad strokes, like it's naturally the other way.
Yeah. It's like... what was Cobra Kai like in the 80s? Well, Robbie would 100% be on that team.
Robbie would have... If you pick any character from the kid roster to be in Cobra Kai as Cobra Kai's leading man, without Cobra Kai having 4 seasons of knowledge, like without us knowing what the show is, if you just looked at the kids, Robbie is definitely in Cobra Kai. 100%. 100%. Him and maybe Hawk.
Him and Hawk, but Miguel naturally should have been a Miyagi-Do because he had the same story as Daniel moving to a new town. And then you have that scene, you know, you start to see Robbie embracing his Cobra Kai philosophy, but still keeping that Miyagi-Do thing where it's just like, you know, defending himself. Like that scene where he kicks everyone's ass in the first episode, it's just like, Oh my god, because he's still like while he's disowned his
He
sensei,
uses
he
Miyagi-Do
still
to
uses
get the
what
upper
his
hand.
sensei taught him. Yeah, it's just like, and we've never seen that before. We've never seen a fighter that has both sides before. You know what I
Dude,
mean? And it's
he
just
uses
like, whoa.
offense and defense and just dispenses of them. I was like,
And
Kyler, sit down.
without
Sit
a
down,
sweat.
Kyler.
Yeah. And
I was like, Tori, if you let him walk out of here, you are an idiot.
yeah, they needed him.
Waxed
Yeah,
your whole dojo. Your whole dojo.
They needed him. And yeah, like I said, they don't have many scenes together, but a scene that I wanted to talk about as well, like you said, was the Daniel and Robbie scene, because Daniel doesn't go there to convince him to leave. He tells him what's going to happen to him, and I think the reason he does it is because he still has faith in Robbie. You know what I mean? Just like Miyagi had faith in Daniel, he has faith in Robbie.
Wake up call.
Yeah, and he was like, "I'm going to tell you what happens to you now." And that subtle thing that Robbie does, that like while I hate it, I love it, is where he goes, "Let me guess, you're training a bunch of wimps. You need a male champion, right?" It's just like, it's such a like you were my best student, and you're throwing that in my face.
I was like, Robbie, you just know you were the best. I love Dimitri basically saying, do I look
like the best chance at defeating Robbie Keane? Yeah, it rhymes with Dobby. Love that. Rhymes with,
and talk about setup, bringing him back to Miyagi-Do. He literally says, we're much better off with Miguel and Hark, and he who shall not be named rhymes with Dobby.
Rhymes with Dobby. Yeah, and what was I going to say? Yeah, but they don't have many scenes, and then when it gets to the prom fight, before they start fighting, they have that scene where they come into contact, and one of them wants to talk. You know what I mean? But it's again, who's going to break the ice? Who is going to move forward with it? But Stingray interrupts them, and they get to the prom fight. And what's so interesting about the prom fight, we talked about this, it's a literal flip in the script from the school fight, where Miguel tries to stop it, Robbie sees it as something else, and he attacks him this time. And the verbal jabs that they throw each other, again, this time it's Robbie's turn, going, you think my dad cares about you?
He's trying to make himself better. I feel better for screwing up with me.
And it's just like, shit, dude. And the anger that Tanner has in his face is just like, oh, he's in. You know what I mean? He's in it. He's in it.
And what's the scene that follows afterwards?
Yeah, and again, it's another scene where Johnny again has to choose, who do I want to be with? And just the heartbreak in Miguel's eyes, you know what I mean? Just admitting that he loves Johnny as a father, you know what I mean? I love you. And he's like, oh, I love you too, Robbie. It's just like, that's when you knew Miguel wasn't winning. You were just like, yep, okay, yeah, because he doesn't have his sensei in his corner, you know what I mean? As much as he wants to, he ain't there. And it's sad. And when you get to the finale,
the season broke Miguel, man. It
was his Peter Parker arc for sure from Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
And when you get to the finale, like you said, where Miguel floors that one guy and Robbie looks at him, I've always interpreted that as not only like there's a hint of respect there, but it's also in their minds, they thought it was going to come down to them two in the final. You know what I mean? That's why they look at each other, because they were expecting,
they're like psyching themselves up. They're like,
they were expecting to fight each other because they're the best. You know what I mean? They were expecting to fight
more
each
of
other.
Robbie's reaction when Miguel, had his.
That's what I was gonna bring up. Is that how would that look? You know what I mean? Like for Robbie to see that and go, shit, I caused that. You know what I mean? And then when they pull up Miguel's gi and you see the scar on his back, it's just like, you caused that, man. And and what's so poetic about it again is that both Robbie and Miguel go through a similar arc this time, where they both realize that winning isn't everything. You know what I mean? Winning isn't always. Neither of them win. Hawk wins, because when Robbie and Miguel aren't at their best, someone else takes it over. And
when they both let their anger take over, it allows others to step up around them. Because it's just the natural order.
Yeah, and Miguel chooses to leave, Robbie chooses to stay, but then he loses, and he hesitates, and neither of them win. That season 4, the ending of season 4 is finally where their arcs have been going like this. Season 4 is finally where it goes like that.
Finally,
for Robbie and Miguel, where they both go through the same journey. Yep. And
literally after all this time,
it's just like finally. And that scene, you already mentioned it, but that scene with Robbie and Johnny, where he
I cried the first time I watched that scene, man. Like
it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. And for him, he finally admits his hatred for, not only Johnny, but for Miguel as well. And what's so interesting about that is that Miguel never hated Robbie. He just didn't like him. Robbie I don't know if he still does now. We'll see when it gets to season 5. But he has had this hatred for Miguel because he's taking the things that Robbie should have had. You know what I mean? He should have had his father from the beginning, but he didn't. So to hear Robbie admit that, to go like, I hate him, was such a step forward because he's admitting his flaws finally, and it is admitting, I need help. You know what I mean? I'm not perfect. I need to do something about this. And that transitions into season 5, which we could talk about right now.
Man, what a scene that was, eh?
Yeah.
It's a powerful scene. Powerful scene.
Yeah.
We can spend the last 20 minutes on season 5 Oatmeal.
Season 5, baby.
And I gotta say, linking it right back to the start, now we've given you the timeline. This fight, right, is the rematch of the century. Right? This is the real rematch of the century. And again, I don't want anyone interrupting this fight. I don't want anyone getting involved. I want Miguel and Robbie to consciously choose together. Let's stop this. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
We can grow together.
This is, I guarantee this is mid-season.
Episode 5 for me. Yeah, mid-season 5. Mm-hmm.
Then in the final 5 episodes, like there's a shot in the trailer of Miguel, Robbie, and Hawk going, "Huss!"
Yeah.
Like that. Bro, imagine Robbie and Miguel doing the wheel technique.
Oh my God.
Just imagine.
They both have their own special kick too. Miguel has the tornado kick and Robbie has the 2-legged kick. You imagine them both doing that on Silver?
Doing that on an enemy at the same time.
On Silver? Holy shit. That'd be awesome.
Like Miguel comes flying in there, bang, and then Robbie's just like, boom. Like they both do it. Like, like Daniel and Johnny kick that dude in the chop shop.
That one guy in the chop shop. Yeah.
Yeah. Kicking the dude at the same time with 2 different kicks.
That'd be awesome.
That would be sick.
That'd be
and
awesome.
I'm looking forward to what's going to play out with these two because it's just time to end this rivalry. It's time, As I said, look, thinking outside of the story perspective here for a moment. If you want this show to carry on for another few seasons, you need to change it completely. Like you can't keep doing this back and forth bullshit forever. Like it's time to change the literal fundamental core of this show from top to bottom. And that starts with the 2 that are on the screen right now, not me and Alex, but you got Miguel right here, and then you got Robbie over there. It starts with these 2. This is how you begin the healing process. And to be fair, in terms of Miguel and Robbie's friendship, it's never going to be like Miguel and Eli. It's never going to be that level. But it's going to be Rocky and Apollo, Tommy and Jason, Goku and Vegeta, where they might have a joke or 2 back and forth. They'll have a moment. And to be honest,
until way later.
I see a scene in season 6 where they talk about how they both beat Kyler's ass.
That'd be pretty cool.
Like where they're both like, yeah, he's like, man, he's an asshole. Well, you don't like him either? No, I beat him up with a whole dojo. I mean, I beat him up with a cafeteria. It's like they both.
There's so much they could bond over. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just literally Johnny and Daniel 2.0. And we don't need to repeat the sins of our fathers. And Johnny and Daniel will say, don't be like us and hold on to it for 30 years. Bury it now. Right now.
Yeah.
It's just time.
I remember we talked about how poetic would it be with Johnny and Daniel's rivalry starting when they were 17 and Robbie and Miguel finish their rivalry when they are 17, proving that they're like their masters want for them. They both have the potential to be better than they were.
Oh God.
That'd be amazing.
So good. It's going to be so good, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
But season 5 is just like, finally, we've been waiting for this. You know what I mean? For these 2 to come together because they should have been on the same side from the first place.
Exactly.
They should have been there.
And fair play to the creators. I don't know if they're watching.
They knew what they were doing. But
you know what you're doing. You milked the shit out of this for the last 4 seasons. You've milked it. Stop milking it. And they're milking it one step further halfway into season 5 just just to drag it out a little bit. It's like mid-season is the final fight of maybe not necessarily ever. Maybe they could have a Rocky Apollo rematch just for
That'd be cool.
You know, like at the end of Rocky 3, they have like a rematch just for
yeah.
I had the tiger, just for fun. But this right here, this is their final rematch.
This would be the final blood feud fight.
The final blood feud one. And this is what's going to end the beef when these two literally throw down and end it.
Yeah, because you see Robbie's bleeding. Because some people are like, oh, they're just training. No.
Yeah, I
they're
didn't
not.
catch that upon the first time I saw it, but after I was like, oh my god, you know.
Yeah, he's bleeding, dude.
Miguel socked him right in the face.
No. They're throwing down. That's
I
literally the school
Miguel
fight.
hit him first.
Yeah,
I think this season, Miguel's just tired of it. He's had enough of Robbie's shit. He's like, I've tried taking the high ground. Like Miguel's had his moments here or there, but by and large, Miguel's taken the high ground most of the time. You know, and he's
season
just like,
3 onward. Yeah,
I'm tired of this shit. Like, you know, fuck you. Like, you know, it's
especially seeing Robbie bond with his mom. Oh my god, could you imagine?
I think that will happen because they'll come
That's
back
gonna
from
happen.
Mexico, and then Miguel will be like, "Why did you never tell me about this? My dad doesn't know who I am. Why didn't you say this to me?" You're gonna, because that relationship has never been tested to this degree, and I think Miguel and Carmen will be tested to a point where Robbie's mother void will be filled with Carmen.
Yeah, just like Johnny's,
Robbie will bond with Yaya and Carmen perfectly. And
100%.
How heartwarming would it be for Robbie? You know, the mother of the son that you kicked over a railing has enough love in her heart to say, you know what? To forgive you. That's powerful. Now Miguel will see that and go, right, this is wrong. Hang on. What? Right, okay. But in that, Miguel will understand what Robbie's been seeing, where it's like, hold on a minute, Miguel. Hold on, Miggy. You came into my yard, took my father from me. I come into your yard and take your mother from you. How do you like it? You know, it flips it. And then Miguel gets the understanding of what Robbie's been going through. And then through Robbie's interactions with Yaya and Carmen, he then learns what he did to that family by putting Miguel in a coma. You know,
that'd be amazing. Oh, I love that. That'd be amazing. I love that.
Sees the gravity and the fallout of what he did. You know, because that still needs to be paid off.
Exactly. I think the creators dragged it this long because they want that scene to hit hard. I think that's why they didn't do it in season 3 or 4.
Yeah, it needs to hit hard. You got to do it the right, because once you do it, you can't undo it.
Yeah.
The minute you put that seed down, these two are on the same page.
Yeah. Once they're on the same page, it's over. It's pretty much over.
You can't undo it, you know. And but Cobra Kai needs villains. Yeah, that's why we're getting them.
You have 9 dojos worth.
You have 9 dojos worth. I did the math. That's like bloody 100 odd students. Like these two, as we've said in this whole stream, these two are not villains. These two are not the villains. They're good kids who lost their way. Especially Robbie in cases. Like they lost their way. Like they're
Season
not
5 is their redemption story.
Yeah, you want villains. Look at Sensei Kim. Look at those 6 senseis there. Look at Terry Silver. Those are villains.
Yeah.
Mike Barnes, potentially. Those are villains.
I'm hoping that Mike Barnes has his children of his own. Can you imagine? His children going up against Robbie and Miguel.
Fly me out.
Season 5, man. Yeah. But season 5, man, I can't wait. Season 5 has been a coming of the ages for me. It's been the season where I'm just like, let's go, you know, finally. And I love how the creators, like you said, they're not having them smack each other's ass with towels. You know what I mean? In the season 5 trailer, they still have beef. There's beef there. Look at them in the pool.
Sunshine and Roses. They still have issues with each other.
Yeah, look at the pool fight.
I want you guys to get along now. We're all friends now. We're not friends. We never will be.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like
I love that. I love that transition.
But the thing is, in saying that we're not friends and we never will be, they're agreeing.
AKA, yeah.
Like they're agreeing with each other. They're literally agreeing with each other. They're both on the same page. Like this is the thing. They're not officially on the same page, quote unquote, yet with like stance, but they're on the same page in terms of mindset. Yeah, we're not going to be friends. We never will be. They both agree.
They're right. They're right. They're not ever going to be friends. They
subconsciously both agree with each other. They just don't want to admit it, you know? Yeah. And it's that thing of it goes back to that scene in season 4 when they were going to talk. It's just a case of
who's going to do it.
Who's going to do it? And the fight will allow them both to do it. Maybe after the fight, they both want to do it. And then they both cut each other off and then they fight again. And then they're like, round 2. So, yeah, I was an arsehole. Yeah, me too. And then, we go from there,
Yeah. And
one conversation kicks it all off.
Exactly. Like, I don't think people understand that either. Like, some people think that, like, you know what I mean? That, okay, one conversation will settle it. No. They need to get this out of their system now, because if they don't get it out of their system now, it's going to affect everyone else. Yeah. It's going to affect everyone else around them. And then their children are going to suffer the same fate that they did.
And the thing is, on that, good point. You don't want Johnny and Daniel 2.0. And the thing is, I'd argue this is even worse than Johnny and Daniel.
Oh my God, it's a blood feud. These two have almost killed each other. Johnny and Daniel have never killed
it was literally a teenager spat, young love, misunderstanding and all that kind of stuff. But these two have had about 50 instances now where it's like, okay, these two legitimately do not like
each other.
They hate each other. If you carry this on into the young adulthood, like I'm going to throw an Uncle Ben quote. These are the years when a man changes into the man he's going to become for the rest of his life. Just be careful who you change into.
That's their season. Season 5 for them.
Oh, man.
And just imagine, a lot of people don't realize, too, that where are they fighting? They're fighting where it all began.
That's a good point.
They're fighting where it all began.
The start where the show literally originated from.
That's where it all began. You know what I mean? How poetic is it? You have the two
You're fighting karate literally kids. The fundamental core of the show, at where the core of the show started.
Mm-hmm. Nobody realizes that.
And
you know what I mean?
Think about it like this also. That's where Johnny and Miguel first began their father-son
Exactly. That's where it all started.
And that's where Robbie and Johnny should have had their father-son relationship.
That's where it all
in this apartment
started.
Complex.
Yep. And I have a theory, too, regarding that. I 100%, and I could be wrong, I 100%, Robbie's going to move back in with his dad. 100%. Yeah. He's going to move in with his dad. And the whole thing with, what Johnny's stipulation was that he told, Shannon, he was like, if Robbie moves in with me, then I'll make him go to school. I have a theory. I think what's going to happen is that Robbie's going to move in with his dad. It's summer. Season 5 takes place over the summer. I think Robbie's going to do summer school. He's going to be living with his dad. And through Robbie bonding with Carmen, I think Carmen is going to plead a case for Robbie to get back into school. Because she's going to see that this is a good kid, that he's a good kid. He didn't mean for what happened to happen. I've seen the goodness in him. It was a misunderstanding. It was a mistake.
Robbie's too smart for that.
Exactly. I have a theory. Carmen will get him back into school. Because she's going to see that he's a good kid.
If Tori can get put back in, then Robbie.
If Tori can get back in, then...
And Robbie's was a freak accident. Like, Tori wanted to,
kill him. Or kill her, yeah.
Yeah, she wanted to, clock her with that,
Yeah.
Robbie's was literally a freak accident. If you can get Tori in, you can get Robbie in.
Yeah. And what's so
interesting imagine them all in the school together. Like a scene in school.
It's going to be Power Rangers. It's going to be Power Rangers.
Literally, Robbie, Miguel, Dimitri, Sam, Tori, Hawk.
It's going to be Power Rangers.
It's Power Rangers.
It's literally
we're not in the San Fernando Valley. We're in Angel Grove. We're in Angel Grove. Yeah. Me and Mr. Miyagi's Zordon.
Yep. Fucking Silver is Goldar. Kim Sung-yoon, she's Rita.
Silver's Lord Zed.
Yeah. Oh, Lord Zed. My bad.
And
Mike
then
Barnes is
Sensei
Goldar.
Kim is Rita. Sensei Kim is Rita Repulsa.
Yeah. It's going that route, and people, you know what I mean. But
I
think that's.
I know people want villains and stuff, but again, these guys aren't villains, and we're moving away. I don't want the show to be gray anymore. We've been gray for
enough of that.
We've been gray for too long. We need to distinguish. These are the good guys. These are the bad guys. There needs to be a clear line now. So that way we as the audience know who we're rooting for. It's been fun for 4 or 5 seasons, but for the final seasons into the end game, I want there to be a clear focus. Who is the bad guys and who is the good guys? Terry Silver, big bad. Sensei Kim, evil as hell. All those 6 dojos that look like something out of a Saturday morning cartoon villain. I mean, we're talking about a show where Chosen, Daniel, and Johnny and Amanda are sat round an army-type table, moving chess pieces. this show shouldn't work, but it does. Like
It does.
It does. It's cheese. It's pure cheddar, as my mate Sam's Nerd would say. But I love it. And it's time to really distinguish. These are the good guys and these are the bad guys. We need to make that distinction now. And we make that distinction by having all the kids that we care about on the same page, including Kenny.
Yeah.
Throw Kenny in there as well. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. And then, if you want villain kids, you have just the Psycho Rangers. You remember the Psycho Rangers in Power Rangers?
In space. Yeah.
You have those guys. And what those guys basically are is a version of
doppelgangers.
Yeah, a version of Robbie that wanted to kick Miguel over the railing. A version of Miguel that fell to the dark side. A version of Tori that is literally just an evil... a version of Sam that, gives into that inner Cobra. A version of Hawk that did cross the other side that didn't come back. A version of Dimitri that could be a piece of shit. Have it on the nose, but you've got 9 dojos worth. You've got some evil doppelgangers in there with the main students. It's a given. It's
not everyone in the valley is a good person. Trust me.
No. It's literally like Harry Potter with the Death Eaters. We've got Dumbledore's army. Let's get the Death Eaters in here. Come on, because then that way, how great would it be to be rooting for Miguel and Robbie from where we started, right?
As they take on 30 other kids.
As they take on 30 flipping NPC non-playable character Cobra Kais.
Yeah.
How great is that going to be? Because it's not
awesome.
Instead of going from, I'm Team Miguel, I'm Team Robbie, it's going to be it's
going to be
it's
not Team Robbie or Team Miguel.
More.
No.
Oh, Miguel can beat up more.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be
You're going to like this, Jacob. It's not Team Robbie. It's not Team Miguel. It's Team Karate Kids. That's what it is. I almost broke my table. That's what it is. It's Team Karate Kids is what it is. That's what it's always been. Sorry, I lost my cool there. My bad.
I love that. I love that. It's the
Team Karate Kids.
Take a picture, Team Karate write it down, tweet that shit. I mean, imagine the conversations that we're going to have now, where we've gone from a show where it's I'm Team Robbie, I stan. I'm Team Miguel, I stan. We're going to go to this. I think Robbie can beat up more. No, I think Miguel can beat up more. And then they're going to be one-upping each other in the show. Who can
But it's going to be a
people.
friendly... It's going to be Apollo and Rocky. Perfect example.
Apollo and Rocky. It's going to be I can be... Hobbs and Shaw. It's
Tommy and Jason. Yeah.
In Hobbs and Shaw, where Hobbs is what, you got a lot of bad guys behind that door? And then Robbie takes on 20 dudes and Miguel just takes on a big dude. And then maybe Robbie takes on a big dude and then Miguel takes on 20 dudes. And then they're keeping score. And they're yeah, so I count that at 32 Cobras. And Miguel's just I count 33, and then it's just they're constantly one-upping each other. And then Dimitri, Sam, Tori, and Dimitri and Tori having a conversation. That'd be fun. And Hawk, and they're all watching, and they're oh God almighty.
Oh my God, are they serious? Yeah. Are they really
serious? And then they could, and then it shows how Tori and Sam are basically turning into Amanda, where Amanda's oh, so this is happening.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Also, and then Johnny and Daniel are watching that happen, and it's just well, Daniel's well, he did get 32, and then Johnny goes, no. He got 33. It's gonna be
and then Miguel's
friendly
wait,
one-upping.
And then just imagine, Robbie's wait, Mr. LaRusso, are you saying you prefer Miguel over me? And then Miguel goes, wait, Johnny, are you saying you prefer Robbie over me? It's no, I didn't mean that. And then it's just family fortunes. It's just a big bloody argument where you got to get
fun rivalry.
It's just a fun bickering thing where there's no fighting. It's just a Jerry Springer sketch, where it's just someone get Jerry Springer or Trisha Goddard or Judge Judy. Get one of them man out here to sort the mess out,
Yeah, could you imagine seeing where Robbie does the tornado kick? Miguel sees that and he's just okay, and then he does Robbie's two-legged kick. Can you imagine?
Yeah, they're trying to one-up each other. Miguel and Tori in the forest in season 2 are beating up Mikey. Could you just imagine if, well, you want this one? Don't mind if I do. And then Robbie takes him. He's still walking. Miguel's see, it's like this. Floors him. He gets back up, and Robbie's no. You see, you missed his leg here. Like that. They use someone as a dummy to beat the shit out of just to prove a point. And in efforts of saying, I'm better, some poor soul is going to get beaten up by two people, not non-stop.
That'd be hilarious. Well,
And
I'm
then they
excited,
both
man.
beat them up.
I'm excited. And also, I forgot to mention too, what's so interesting about this as well is that with where they're fighting right now, I think we've already mentioned this, but there's no, from what we've seen, there's no one there to stop him. Daniel's not there to stop him.
Johnny's
Sam's
not
not there to stop him. Johnny's not there. Like, I would love it if Johnny and Carmen go out on a date somewhere. Robbie and Miguel walk out of their doors at the same time, and then it's on. This is like, okay, we've been waiting for them to not be here.
If Robbie walks out of Johnny's apartment and Miguel walks out of his, and then they just opposite each other.
Like,
and cue the Wild West music, you know, the
I'll tell you what I think is going to kickstart off this fight. I think for majority of season, at least half of season 5, Robbie and Miguel are going to be blaming each other for why Cobra Kai won. I think Robbie's going to blame Miguel.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I think Robbie's going to blame Miguel and be like, well, at least I stayed and fought. You ran away like a coward. And I think Miguel is going to be like, yeah, well,
at least I didn't to run away if you didn't.
If you didn't teach, and if you didn't teach them, like, how could you teach them Miyagi-Do, man? Like, what is your problem? And I think that's really going to get under their skin because
it's going to be about taking responsibility for how much they've screwed up. And it shows you again that these two aren't the bad guys.
No, it's just circumstance, man. And while I blame Johnny and Daniel for the school fight and the tournament loss, I also blame Robbie and Miguel for the tournament loss, because if them two were together from the first place, it would have been like Cobra Kai. Who are we talking about?
You know what I mean? You're gonna have Kyler and Kenny fighting Robbie and Miguel. R.I.P.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that. That'll be an early funeral. Oh my god.
I mean, and the fight that they've got in the mid, like with the tournament looking kind of fight, I don't think Miguel and Robbie are there because it's overkill. Like
I was going to ask you that. Do you think Robbie and Miguel are there at that tournament fight? Where do you think they are? They're probably with a certain someone watching them recover, and then they go take on someone.
Yeah, I think they've probably just had their fight or whatever. Because if you put them on the same page as Eli and Sam right now, like Kenny, Kyler, and Tori, they're getting waxed. You know.
Okay.
But before Robbie and Miguel fight together in Miyagi-Do gis, because if you think about it, Robbie's never been in a proper Miyagi-Do gi.
Actually, he has at the Valley Fest.
But
season 2 Valley Fest, he was wearing a Miyagi-Do gi.
The Valley Fest, but like just like
he's never worn a gi in a tournament. Yeah,
like in a tournament setting or just like in a training gi. Like
oh my god, yeah. Could you imagine
Miguel, Robbie, and Eli in Miyagi-Do gis, full-on gis? You know, because yes, Eagle Fang is cool, but just I don't care. Like Eagle Fang's a fun gimmick, but
it was a gimmick and it's done. Yeah,
it's a gimmick and it's done. You know, it doesn't mean forever. You can still use Eagle Fang to sell merch and whatever. But you know, I think for all intents and purposes, Miyagi-Do versus Cobra Kai, we need to go back to that black and white formula now.
It has to go that way. Yeah. And could you imagine, Jacob? Swallow this pill. You got Robbie and Miguel both wearing Miyagi-Do gis. Miguel is wearing Daniel's headband. Robbie's wearing Johnny's
headband.
That'd be freaking awesome, dude. Oh my god. Can you imagine in the tournament it's a 2v2 and they're just every single person they're just
Miguel got his for catching a fish, so Robbie will be right.
Yeah. Robbie doesn't really have to do anything.
Yeah, that was a bit of a it was cool to see visually, but I was like, you didn't earn you didn't earn that there.
Yeah. It would be like if Johnny gave Robbie the Cobra Kai jacket in season 2, you'd be like, what?
Yeah, but like if Miguel gets the Miyagi-Do headband, I mean, I want Daniel's personal one to go to Sam or Anthony, but the one that Miguel has, rock up with that, and then Johnny's like, here, you need a headband.
I want you to give you something. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Robbie puts that headband on, and then maybe there's a shot of both Robbie and Miguel putting it on, like there's like how the screen is like now with me and you, right?
What where they're both like,
and then they're both like that in a shot. Oh my god!
Awesome. And they don't have to do anything. They could just look at each other and they already know what to do. You know what I mean? So I can't wait. Season 5 is going to be awesome, and I love again how they're not, while they're on the same page, they're not entirely on the same page. You know what I mean? Like they're still have their beef Like, just because they come back from Mexico together, that doesn't mean that they are together, if that makes sense.
It doesn't mean it's resolved.
Exactly. Like at the pool, you see that they're having their problems, and we're going back to that formula again where one of them sees something and interprets it as another thing. But shout out to Miguel. He sees that Hawk just got attacked without hesitation, shows up and puts the smack down on Robbie, just pushes him. It's like, what are you doing, man? You just, you know what I mean? You just push
and
him into
Miguel's
the
probably
pool.
not even looked at the whole other situation.
But I think throughout season 5, he'll be looking for a reason to fight Robbie. I think that'll be
I think they're both going to be looking for a reason to have a go at each other. And
because
the one time Johnny isn't there to stop them is when they fight in the midseason.
Yep. And do you still think they're going to team up in Mexico, like at some point?
Briefly.
Okay. Like, what if it's at the cage fight where that's when they're trying to get Miguel out of there, and then Robbie and Miguel have to do
very brief. Like you'll have Johnny and Robbie team up for the most part because we've never seen that. But you'll have Johnny, Robbie, and Miguel team up for like 20 seconds, and it will just give you an inkling of what's to come.
Yep, that'd be awesome. That'd be so freaking awesome.
I'm sorry, man. Awesome. Tommy and Jason, bro.
We've been waiting for this, dude.
I've been waiting for this, man.
And to see them together, man.
I want the ending shot to be season 3 on steroids.
Yeah,
same song, everything.
That'd be awesome. And finally, Robbie and Miguel they don't have to fight over Johnny and, be separate with Johnny and Daniel. It's Johnny, Daniel, Robbie, and Miguel. Finally, all 4 of them are on the same page, man.
And what sensei have they just brought in the fold?
Chosen.
That can help with redemption.
Oh my God. Who wanted to kill Daniel. Who wanted to kill him. And it's somebody also, a sensei who knows both offense and defense.
Yeah.
What do Miguel and Robbie know now?
They're going to thrive under Chosen, man.
What do they both know now? They both know offense and defense. Because you've seen their fight.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this.
And Robbie was reading the Okinawa book as well in season 2.
And in their fight in the trailer, Robbie strikes first. Or no, he throws a punch. He goes for a punch, and then Miguel blocks it with a Miyagi-Do move. So again, you're just like, they know before when they fought, it was always Robbie Miyagi-Do, Miguel Cobra Kai. They both know each other's style now. So they're going to be constantly switching and turning with each style.
It's going to be the Hawk Robbie fight on steroids.
On steroids, except there's no one watching this time. Like, there's no point system either. What the hell is that in this fight?
There's no point system. There's no rules. It's literally just a free for all.
It's like, who's going to go down?
Goes. I'm going to kick you into the stairs. You're going into the stairs.
So I'm excited, man. And I hope I want to stress this. I really hope the creators, realize that as cool as it is to have Team Robbie and Team Miguel, there's also that toxicity there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think it's finally time to just make them even. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
it's
I think
a final draw for the
fans for once can learn the appreciation of it's not about that. They're both going to be on the same page anyway.
Yeah.
You can come together. This whole team tribalistic BS. It's
not going to be anything. Yeah, because I don't see them coming together after one of them wins, like one ups the other in a fight. I don't see them coming together after that. Like if it's a draw, then I see them coming together.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's got to be a draw because then that way they can't. Because then there can always be something for the future where Robbie and Miguel can go. So we never really learned who won that fight.
Oh my God! It was
me who won. It was me who won that, not you. Well, no, hold on. I think I won that fight. And then it'd be like,
All right,
let's try it again. I at the
Tigers. Well, I hope it's a draw, dude. I really do. I hope it's a
Bring
draw.
on season 5. I can't wait. This has been a great stream, man.
Yeah,
great stream. 2 hours of epicness. I want to thank everyone who tuned into the stream. As me and Alex covered Miguel and Robbie's story pretty much from season 1 up till now. And, I wanted to do this for a while because, as I said at the start of the stream, this is a storyline that means a lot to me personally. And I know it does to you, Alex, too. Just because of not just the emotional connection to it in terms of how I identify with Miguel's story or with Robbie's story, but also just I've not seen it done like this before. And it's so refreshing to see and to really sort of come to a point where it doesn't matter, what side of the fence you're on with, you're Miyagi-Do, you're Cobra Kai, yada, yada, yada. It's more you know, it's more of a situation of these people are going to come together, and there's a message in that where, you know, it's better to be on the same page and realize we're stronger together. We always were. At least that's how I interpret it.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's awesome. But Alex, bro, thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, man.
Got a lot of feedback on my last stream. I was just like, you know what, I got to bring you back on. We got to shoot the donkey with more you know,
shoot from the hip.
Shoot from the hip, you know. Have you got the notes?
Yeah. No, I don't need
notes. Shoot from the hip. Shoot from the hip. It's like, what about you? You gonna read from your diary? Love that scene. And I haven't read the chat at all in the stream, everybody. The reason for that is quite simply because there is some real quantifiable leaks going around at the moment, and I don't want to be spoiled, and I don't want to spoil anyone. But I do appreciate every single person who has shown up. There was one moment where we had nearly 90 people in the stream today. I'm close to nearly 7.5K subs. So if you're new here, please subscribe. Join the chosen familia, and I don't just cover Cobra Kai, I cover Star Wars, Marvel, the whole shebang. It's just a channel for all. But thank you everyone who tuned in. I hope that we've entertained you tonight and we provided you some good context, because there's only so much you can do in a 10-minute, 5-minute video, but a 2-hour live stream allowing me to really express my points with Miguel and Robbie's story, because in my opinion, it is the backbone of the show. And then have Alex as well alongside, someone who fully understands it to the capacity that I do. It's just great. So everyone in the chat, I can't see it, but I'm sure you'll do it. Raise a toast to Alex right now. Alex, give him a final few words.
Love this space. I love this community. I love coming on here. You guys are great. Can't wait for season 5. Hopefully we get what we want and then some. Yeah, I love doing these. I love talking about these two characters. You know what I mean? They mean so much to me. And, you know, just knowing that the two main dudes, you know what I mean, the two karate kids will finally come together and be stronger together is just great. And, you know, it's as cool as it is to have their final fight. I can't wait for it, but I'm more excited to see them come together. It's going to be something for the ages, and I can't wait. So to September 9th, 4 days from now. I can't wait.
Let's go, baby.
Awesome. Yeah.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
Baby.
Alex, thank you so much for coming on, brother. Really appreciate it. And we covered a lot of ground, season 1 up till now. And we went back and forth. We used connective tissue between the seasons to sort of back up our points. And yeah, man, it's just been a good one, man. Thank you for coming on, dude.
Of course.
This right here is the number 1 student in my dojo. The number 1 student. Alex, get your cup up, sir. We're going to raise a toast together.
There you go.
Boom. Everyone in the chat, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. To those watching after the fact or on rewatch, shout out to you guys as well. We will see you this Friday for season 5. This is going to probably be my final thing to do in regards to Cobra Kai before the season drops, because I feel pretty good. I just feel ready. Like, I'm ready. Give me season 5. Like, I'm fucking in there. You know, I'm ready. I'm ready. Alex, I assume you're the same.
I am ready. I've been ready. I can't wait.
I was born ready. Alex,
born ready.
Put it there, brother.
Oh, wait. There you go.
Put it back up.
Okay.
And 3, 2, 1. Marvelous. Everyone, see you in another stream soon. Raise a toast to Alex in the chat. And subs, Jordan. Sup, brother? I'll catch.
I guess love conquers all.
I'll catch a couple of the names in the chat just before I end, because there's no spoilers. Melissa, Garrett, Cool Game Boy, Nicholas, Danny, Lisa, Mystic, Danny, Melissa, Lucifer, Cool Game Boy, Jim Tim, and Cobra Kai World and Tristan. I'm sure you're in there somewhere. Shout out to you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I will see you all this Friday. It's going to be great.